Oh, that. Why, hello, everybody. It is I, the real Randy
Is it
Chavez,
not
coming
working?
with Taps, Johnny Dunn, Corinne from Cali, and
What's
Dashy. How's everyone doing?
up? I'm great.
Good. What's going on, everyone?
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Been stoked for this.
What's
That's
going
for
on?
Yes, I've been excited all week for this. I was
Oh man,
hoping
is
that
my internet going crazy right now?
I heard part of that, Johnny Dunn. Heard internet going crazy, but I think you did do a little bit of
In and
I
out
think
right
right.
now.
Yeah, in and out.
How about now? How's it?
little blurry.
Yeah, I see the in and out. It's like the burger place. Oh, gone.
You're in the ether.
He got booted.
It did.
At least it's happening now, and again, like not during a Johnny Dunn drop stream, right? That's what you don't want to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
Oh, hey. We
But
are.
Happy Saturday, everyone. You know, it's thanks for setting this up, Corinne, and for hosting, Randy. You know, it's good to just kind of have some chill time with the fam on a Saturday. I think Easter's tomorrow, so happy early Easter.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming on. It's been
Yeah,
a while,
it's fun.
Taps.
It has been a while, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to go through some of the old videos, and I think the last time we met was when I was with some of the other women of Veve, and that was probably at least 6 months ago.
Wow.
At least 6. So much has changed. So much has changed. Yeah. All right.
6 months. Did we had Disney 6 months, right? Yeah, that was in November.
Yeah, I think it just announced in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was before Disney the last time.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So there's been a lot that's happened.
Pre-Disney.
Yeah.
I wonder if there will be, how like there's like BC and AD in like our time. I wonder if there'll be like a BD in Veve time, like before Disney, and like a B and like before Marvel when there was like no before Marketplace when there was no Marketplace.
But then it could just evolve to like BV, like before Veveverse days, and then AV, right? So never know.
Yeah.
There's so many different things that can go on. The next time we're all gonna meet up physically, are you guys into like San Diego Comic-Con? I think that might be the.
Are you going?
I'm gonna try. That's in July, right?
Yeah, and I think they'll probably do something around it. They said Veve specifically said the only way that they would be at San Diego Comic-Con is if they like shared a booth with another partner or something like that there, which you never know, something like that could happen. But either way, I mean, actual live San Diego Comic-Con for the first time in years. Yeah, I want to go.
Yeah, it's been a while for me too. I haven't gone to a con since 2019, since before the pandemic. So
Would you cosplay?
If by July, I would need to. I could probably get leaner than anything because getting jacked while losing fat is going to be very hard. So just losing weight, I could probably try to do like a Spider-Man or a Crow or Deadpool.
Nice. You could do your Bane.
You were at the DCon. You were at the DCon last year, and that was in LA, right? Yeah. Because I was trying to get down there, but I didn't have a chance to make it. But I had fun watching all of you.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Really good. Yeah.
I think that's my Bane over there. That's buddy mine got that for me.
Nice.
Okay, I see that. Unopened.
I was hoping to get that to get Bane in Series 6 of Black and White, but then they did not. I know I don't know which one he comes in, 7, 8, 9. I know there's a bunch of them though.
He's one that's like super anticipated, right? So I'm wondering if they'll either like start a new season with that or end a season with that, but you never know. I mean, that's one that like everyone's been waiting for. It's one of the coolest looking ones who's not Batman, right?
When's the new season start?
Oh, we're not sure. Coming up.
End of March. One of the mods had mentioned that it was the end of March, but it wasn't. They were incorrect. So I want to say it's the end of this month.
Okay.
If not mistaken. Yeah.
That's soon.
Yeah. It's very soon because that's also when the DeLorean is supposed to be, the Switch is supposed to be turned back on. And then they always do a couple other, added features at the end of each season before going into the next. So, Yeah. How do you guys
Comment down
feel
below.
about the kit car being drivable before the DeLorean? Were you guys shocked by that?
I mean, well, before that was the 007 one, right? Well, it was like the secret rare, right? But like, I guess at the same time, I think it's cool that they upgraded the lights on the Ecto one. It looks way cooler now,
Yeah.
and I imagine they'll flip that one on as well. So, yeah, I also kind of wish they would do a little bit more animation with the DeLorean as well, like make some of like the lightning shoot out of the back or something like that. I think that would really be really cool add too.
Yeah.
I think they will though eventually because they just did something with the lights on that, or no, it was something else they were going to do with the DeLorean. Was it the backlights or it was they needed to tune something up? Trevor had made a comment about that a while ago. Aside from it being drivable, and I remember there was like a big controversy about, you know, they're not NFTs. If you can go in, you can change them. You know, you're not supposed to be able to change them. And I know, and it was an interview that was just done with. It was with Trevor. Gosh, who did it with him? Was it UTAPS or?
No, it was probably Kyle Willson or NFT Pirates. They both had Trevor on.
Yeah, it was NFT Pirates. It was NFT Pirates. But, you know, Trevor had like some of the most amazing points in that in a sense that, you know, just because you can go in and you can, you know, make changes and recreate them doesn't mean that they're not an NFT. If anything, you know, you want to have basically that option, the capability to be able to go in and make something better. You're not taking features away, but to be able to add features to them. And then in another video with the women of Veve, Dan had talked about how all of the, eventually everything, you know, the Ecto, the DeLorean, and now we have the bike. You know, he talked about building an RC track. You know, he was like, you might be able to build an RC track and race, you know, whatever, and or pick your friend up in the DeLorean and the in the Veveverse. And so it sounds like all of them are going to be flipped, have that switch flipped.
And what I hope too is, I mean, we know about 2 of the games, right? But we don't know about the 3rd game. And I feel like if they're coming out with more vehicles, there's a big emphasis on more vehicles. And they've spoken about how you'll be able to race in the Veveverse. I wonder if also they'll be potentially looking at maybe some kind of, you know, racing game or something like that, because I play different kinds of games, but I know that a lot of people love racing games. So I think that would definitely appeal to a lot of people as well.
That was my thought. I've been thinking a racing game or something of that nature because it has been mentioned a few times about racing our different cars. Like I said, building an RC track or something. So that's always kind of been in the back of my mind.
Is Johnny hopping back on via?
I was just wondering.
Like on his phone. If Johnny, if you're listening, hop back on the phone. It's no worries on the computer side.
Yeah, we could. We'll just deal with you small ways. When I had Hello K on, he had said that racing games typically are not that hard to make, and if we have 3 games coming out, well, at least it's going to use them. Maybe that shouldn't be part of it. Because inside the Veveverse, all the mini games that we could potentially have probably wouldn't count towards the 3 games that are going to include Omi utility. But yeah, he said it's not that hard to make. Like you just, the only thing I'd be not concerned with is if they have different speeds or different controls, or if they're just going to be one thing, and then like an obstacle course, like for I don't know, you have to figure out how to turn and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sounds like the hardest part is actually creating the NFTs themselves versus maybe putting a game together. And that's another thing that topic that Trevor covered as well. He basically related, I think it was a collection of 10,000 JPEGs. So he compared like Bored Apes, you know, the amount of money that it costs to create 10,000 of those doesn't even compare to the amount of time and money that it takes to compare one Veve NFT.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, definitely no comparison, but I'm super excited. And taps that Rise, Reese Rise. What did you refer to?
The Rise of Reese.
Oh my God, is Aussie something sexy?
Oh, the saucy Aussie?
Saucy Aussie. That was an amazing video.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. That was fantastic.
You know, it was I asked him like a while back, and a bunch of things were happening, and then they also had like the Veve AMA last week. And so like I had a lot of really pointed questions that I had to kind of like figure out how I can structure them to get answers, because sometimes when you ask questions to them, like they just can't answer them. Right. So I really had to like, I mean, Randy, you were there when we were at Decon. He was streaming and I was on the bed, like writing out my questions for probably 2 hours, trying to make sure I was prepared for that last AMA, which is the last time I had one with Reese and Alex and Noah live. So I had to like make sure I was getting answers that the community wanted and kind of be a little bit more direct on some of them, right? Like, is the Vverse actually coming? And then some other ones too, like, are you sticking to MTL coming this quarter? But still get a lot of questions around like the big picture, because I think we've been like in this kind of down negative sentiment. There's been a lot of just, well, the whole NFT market's been mostly down, but just a lot of negativity lately with a lot of things that have happened. So I was kind of like, all right, I need to understand some of the, how are we going to crawl out of this? And what are going to be those big things that are going to happen? And then he dropped quite a few things in that interview.
Yeah, you asked some amazing questions. Yeah, like
Thank
hit
you.
it right on the nail. And then even in the last AMA, and, I know there's been a lot of FUD, and, honestly, myself, a couple of months ago, I was a little frustrated by different timelines. Not that I was in doubt that Veve was going to come through. It was more or less about the transparency and understanding what's going on behind the scenes, like why these delays are happening. I think for me, that was the hardest thing to understand, especially when, HRO dropped and you're able to buy other collectibles on Immutable with OMI. It was, I had sent both of you a message, like, do you have any idea why? And then, but after the last AMA and after the last show, after the last, what you just did with Rise, it kind of put everything into perspective. When in the AMA that they did and Rise broke it down and basically, we started out wanting to do this, but then this happened and then we had to do this. And then, and he just kind of laid everything out in a roadmap and all the obstacles that they had to do behind the scenes. That was just like, God, okay, it makes sense. I forgot about all of that, and then, I thought Johnny was back. Nope, he's not back.
No, this is Johnny Cash.
Still bullish. Was Johnny Cash.
different Johnny.
But yeah, I mean, to your point, Corinne, I mean, there's a lot of frustrated people, and I think everyone here are definitely frustrated with the timelines not happening, right? And so it's okay to be upset. It's okay to be frustrated. And some people who left, some people will come back, some people won't, right? Some people are burnt from it, and it's, that's what happens, right? Like whether it's crypto or NFTs or public companies that you're investing in with stocks, like delays happen, and there's usually not as much visibility or as much like exposure to what is upcoming with some of those, companies that you invest in. So when you know what is ahead of you, and then there's timelines given, and then they're constantly not met, frustrations is built, right? So like for those people who did peace out, like no hate to them, I get it. And there's other projects that, you could invest in and make money in the interim. But when you have that kind of long view, I think it's the safer play versus hopping out. And then once it does rally, you're like, oh, well, I missed out, right?
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, you have to think, we've got Disney, Marvel, Alfred Kahn. I mean, even Jeremy Padawer. You've got even David Yu. I mean, legendary people in this space that have been doing this. I mean, if you combine their years of experience together, it's over 100 years. They're not going to fail. They're born to succeed. And what Veve is doing is going to be a household name, as they referred to it as. And in one of the earlier, like a year ago, that it was, going to be like Netflix, Hulu and all these things all in one, that we don't even know what their plans are. I mean, it's probably like way further and beyond than what we're even thinking. And that's what they're preparing for. And, in your video with Rise, he even made it. I liked when he said it was about the KYC and about some of the MTL, that this is what I understood from it. It's something that probably could have been pushed forward a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, but because of all the regulations that are coming, they didn't want to start something and then have all these regulations fall and then have to stop and pull back and clean up a mess, that they're really trying to just future proof it and get everything like basically be ahead of the game so that when it happens, it's already in place. So I love that.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Randy.
Oh no, agreed. That was it's a lot easier to do something once than to start and stop and start again. And I do feel people's frustrations. But this a lot when we're talking about delays. This happens with especially major tech companies. Like I've used Tesla as an example. I pre-ordered 2 Cybertrucks in 2020, and we were supposed to get them Q4 of last year, and they're like, no, well, we'll delay it till this year, and then they delayed it again till next year. So they've been delayed for about almost 2 years, and they're $1 trillion company, so it makes sense that Veve.
Why do you want 2? Just one to sell?
Yeah, so I got one. I pre-ordered one because I wanted one, and then the other one, full self-driving, was $7,000 to get, and then it was about to increase like the next day. I was like, all right, I figured it would be delayed at least once. Full self-drive, I at least locked in the full self-driving at $7,000, and that was $12,000, and it'll probably go up again next year. So it's I could sell that already for like a 5K profit. Like,
nice.
and I only put $100 down. Beautiful.
That's all you have to do for deposit?
Yeah, it's nuts.
What?
Yeah. So I pre-ordered 2 of them, and because I could, and I mean that would be great if I'd pre-ordered like 10 of them. Just sold like 8.
Welcome to the Real Randy Chavez dealership / Gator Farm.
I mean, one I'll probably use for myself, but the other one, full self-driving is solved in the next couple of years. You'll be able to take that car and it can Uber for you, and you don't have to drive it. Like it goes doing its thing as a ride sharing, and that's like 30 grand a year. Like, okay, well, I'll pay for it off in 2 years, and the rest is just profit.
There's passive income.
There's a few companies that are getting into that like next level of the self-driving, and they're not. It's not just Tesla. There's definitely quite a few. One of my clients is actually some of the tech that's like kind of a competitor that's building out with some of the technology that will go into the robo-taxis, which that'll be a whole nother thing, right? So it's pretty cool to see where we'll be probably in the next 4 to 6 years with the self-driving side.
I would love it if they would have a good like competitor with it. And there's other people in the space. Like I know Waymo has a couple million miles driven, but Tesla's got like billions of miles driven all to that neural net. And it was like, they're so far ahead. But yeah, I know other people have like autopilot. Other companies have like safety features, and they're good. Tesla's is amazing, except when you're driving in like New York, and there are no lines on the road because New York like doesn't like care about the I don't know, updating like the freeways or whatever. Then the full self-driving goes all crazy because it doesn't know where to go and doesn't know like where the lines are on the road. So that gets a little dangerous. But
yeah.
But outside of that, freeway driving is amazing.
So when do you think? I mean, we know that more luxury brands are coming on the vehicle side. What's the chance of Veve landing Tesla in the future?
So this wouldn't actually be Web3, but Elon's not really big on Web3. He likes crypto, and I guess NFTs would probably be okay, especially these ones. If there's any NFT project that could probably be Veve, unless Tencent, which has a sizable stake in Tesla, unless they happen to have a partnership with a gaming company that says, hey, because they develop all the games as well. Mm-hmm. Unless they use that angle, somebody has a really big partnership with Tencent, and then because Tencent has that holding, and if they do it, I would give it us right now, I guess the biggest chance, like let's say 40% chance, and everyone else had like a 2 to 5% chance.
Right. I think because Tesla would want to be really careful with if they did go into the NFT side to make sure that it's going to be a big boom, right? So if they were to actually make a strategic partner, the one that jumps out to me that would make the most sense would be like Animoca with their success with like Rev, and then also just how much they have kind of built out with other also mobile NFT games. But it's an advertising branding machine just to do it through VV2. So they could do multiple.
I was thinking it would be cool to see Omi, if there was a chance in maybe a Tesla partnership, would be Omi as a utility token. And the reason that I was thinking this a long time ago is because Tesla is all about being green and, you know, not using gas in electric vehicles and all of that. And the Omi token was the first 99.9% carbon-free, you know, footprint token to mint NFTs, correct? Or platform to actually be minted using no gas. So I was like, that'd be kind of nice. You have a, you know, Omi token that uses no gas to create NFTs. And then you've got your Teslas that are totally against like no gas and being green.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Doge father, though, he's all about incorporating Doge in all sides of the business, right? Which, I mean, that's the only reason why I still have some Doge, is just because if Elon wants something to succeed, and he's also pushing to, you know, he had the biggest stakeholding of Twitter, and then I think someone just passed him again, like on the banking side, someone passed him again, but he clearly has, like, he's dead set on it, right? He's talked about it being like the currency of Mars or whatever, but if he sits on, I think their board or something, he has some kind of stake in it now. So he wants it to be successful. I could see him looping that more into the Tesla model, however he wants to do it. And then maybe, you know, Doge is not fast, kind of like what you said with Corinne, but there's plenty of other centralized crypto or mixed centralized that is really, really fast that he could look at as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point. He did say with Mars, though, it would have to have its own native currency because, like I said, it is a little slow. So by the time something happens, like for Doge, the price-wise on Earth, it would take too long to go to Mars, like before, so the transactions wouldn't be as good. That being said, he said he is only invested in 3 cryptos: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Doge. Like he says, he does not have any others. So like, it kind of, you know, gives a kick to all the other ones that we like. But David, you had a SpaceX hat on in one interview, so I feel like a lot of his stuff, he just does almost like speaking to us without speaking to us. It's like, you know, a POW like blinking, you know, like SOS or like blinking their location. That's his like.
I think very similar. Did you catch how I can't remember which AMA or what question it was, but he had the
Banksy,
the flowers, and he had the Banksy. Yeah, he had the Banksy in it. And that was like the one that stuck out. And then it was also in another interview that he had with, I can't remember where it was, but he's making it a point to put it in his background. And like I've had the same thoughts, Randy, where it's like, he seems to purposely have things that are there, not only that he loves, but also that we've eventually seen, right? Not everything yet, but we've seen things in his house. We've seen things in his backgrounds that have eventually come to Veve. So man, if Banksy hit.
So the thing that I would be not concerned with, but we will get some 1-of-1s. You know, we've already had some, you know, like the 007 tickets and the Aston Martins, like 1-of-7s. But I mean, to get Banksy and then suddenly you have like no shot of getting it because it's a 1-of-1, I'd be a little disappointed because Banksys are so expensive, and that would be no different. I feel like, but again, who knows? If maybe they'll have multiple. They'll have like a Banksy for everyone, and then they'll have a 1-of-1 as well.
Yeah.
I wonder if those will be done by like auction, maybe how Rise was talking.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But either way, the awareness of that, if like that would make NFT news, kind of like with Disney, right? Like that made PR news and everyone went nuts and the community went crazy and obviously the value shot up. But Banksy is one of the most well-renowned, at least kind of newer, you know, like, or like, it's not newer over the past, what, hasn't it been around like 15 years? 20 years, but it would just make massive news, right? So I think that would be pretty substantial.
Apparently, once the web platform is live, you'll be able to buy NFTs on Veve in your Tesla web browser. That'd be so meta if we did get a partnership, and then we could buy Tesla NFTs in our Tesla. That'd be insane.
Well, he's saying you have like a web browser on the screen, right? So you could just go in there, go to vv.me or whatever, and just do it in there. So that's a hard flex.
That's great. I one of the things that you mentioned with Reese that I really loved was when you said, "Hey, you know, we have Disney, which is a pretty powerful, you know, brand. Are there any other brands that are similar that we might have, like as high impact?" So that was your way of like asking about Nintendo and Pokemon without asking about Nintendo and Pokemon. That was good. I was screaming that whole interview. That was amazing.
Yeah, and like obviously he couldn't just come out and say yes, or like say even like or possibly better ones, because you can't discount the current brands and licensors, right? But yeah, that was definitely a hard one to try and figure out how to ask, because we know there's more coming. And then he did say again, or reiterate again, that there's more under Disney that we haven't seen, right? So I'm still hopeful for like National Geographic and possibly something with ESPN and some of the other things that we could see come from underneath that. Or, you know, we have Fox with Homer and Bart, but yeah.
That's a good point. I want like the movie clips as well, like, you know, kind of what NBA Top Shots has, where they have. I want movie clips. Just looks awesome. Corinne, what are you most excited for?
Oh man, I'd gotta say the Viviverse. I'm just like have this like world like like in my mind. I have it all like just made up, and it's just like a fantasy right now. But really, I have no idea what to expect.
It's happening this year.
Yes, I know.
I have two public bets going on. One with Asian Dan Lee, our very good friend. It's just like a steak dinner, so that's nothing too crazy. And the other one is with the Todd father, which is for Superman. So
what's the bet? That it's coming this year?
Yeah, so like a first iteration. Like, so if they had just updated like the showroom, and they say like, oh, here's like, you know, your first look at the Viviverse, and it's just an updated showroom, that would not count. It would have to be like, hey, this is our first iteration of the Viviverse, not a sneak peek, not a quick look. This is Viviverse Part 1, and obviously they'll update it a million times as the time goes on. So that is and Superman, if he gets some type of utility, I mean, he's a great one to get already, but if he gets some type of utility, go to the moon.
Yeah.
I want your guys' opinion on this. I have a bet that I haven't taken yet. It's that Omi will be $1 by 2026, which I think it will, but it's for 1 million Omi. And right now, 1 million Omi is like, it's a couple grand. It's not like, but by that point, if it's if it's 80 cents and I have to give away $800,000, I'm gonna. This is not fun. it's more stressful.
By 2026 to hit $1?
Yeah, like April 15th, I think, 2026.
I would absolutely say that I would take that bet that it will be at least $1 by 2026.
I would take it too. And Randy, worst case scenario, you have 131 million Omi, and given at that point, let's say it's at 80 cents.
Yeah,
you still have a lot of Omi.
Okay,
and,
I'm gonna answer them
up the way, but at the same time, if you have that bet and it's close at that time,
yeah,
it's kind of hold it and know
it's with Ryuzi Omi OG. I just said deal.
Nice.
So we were just going on.
Then you have to pay him. If it does, he has to pay you.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So
swoosh.
Swoosh, swoosh,
swoosh.
You'd be like, I need your checking account info now, just in case you try to ghost out.
Oh man.
Tony Rod sold his number 80 Riso, but bought a Spider-Man. 27 cans. I probably so many different Batman. Yeah, so many different Batman. You know, I so for me, I'm not really one to. I like the Riso, I think, more than any other Batman, actually, maybe except Batman Who Laughs, as just far as artwork. But Spider-Man, yeah, there's a bunch of different Spider-Man, but that's Peter Parker. Like, that is Spider-Man. So I think that was probably a really good move. Tony Rugg.
I love the Doug Mankey. Love it. Like, I mean, I have the physical, right? Like, he just looks so cool. I think you can use him a ton in the showroom. The Todd's really cool looking, but yeah, the Riso's awesome. But in the back, I mean, they all look pretty solid. I was kind of surprised by the Grandpa Batman. That one was definitely a surprise, but there's 100 of them, right? So we've seen like 26 of them. So I'm sure we'll get all of them eventually.
I wonder if we'll be able to play chess with our Batman at some point. Like if they have like a chessboard. Like I thought we were gonna get something like that with Chaosium before they turn to the dark side and get caved to their that kind of didn't piss me off. That just made me upset that they caved to the people that said like NFTs are bad and they just
that did piss me off.
Because
it's such a cool license.
Like have different features and stuff too. Yeah.
Well, and they were evolving the like you could see certain pages start updating in the Necronomicon, like the fact that it's a tabletop gaming company, and David, you like his Vagabond game sells, like it just made sense for that licensor. So the fact that they like just kind of gave in to their fan, and I get it, like they need to keep selling games, but then again, if they're fans of tabletop gaming, they're going to keep buying and going to be part of it, whether they're fans of the NFTs or not. But it's just such a weird backstep, right? Like embrace the future and help people learn about what is different about VV NFTs and the sustainability side versus just hating on them. And yeah, that really bothered me that Chaosium took that stance.
Yeah, they had such a chance to educate, because like I put it in a video like last week or 2 weeks ago, where Star Trek was announcing some of their NFTs launching on Recur, and there's so much pushback from Star Trek fans saying that if Star Trek goes and releases NFTs, that is in direct it's like a fight against what Star Trek stands for. I was like, that the misinformation is so crazy. What? And yeah, like there's in that video, I read like 5 different people's posts, and if you take a look at the type of people who were posting that, they all fit a certain mold, like of one type of person.
Gotcha.
Which was very sad. Because like some of them that had said that they otherwise seemed like it is coming from a good place. Like they just hear misinformation. Oh, NFTs are bad for the planet. They use a lot of electricity, and they're kind of like virtue signaling. And so I'm not really mad at them. I just wish they would be better educated. But
now, did Recur say that they were dropping the first Star Wars NFT like some of these other?
I don't think they did.
No? Okay.
I don't think they said first. And I do have one.
You got one?
Yeah, I grabbed one. I don't know if they're still available, but like the reason why I grabbed one, and they weren't exactly cheap. They're $250, which is pretty steep for, a brand new platform. But what I liked about it was that NFT, you can go on like missions or journeys with it basically, and then get other NFTs. And so it isn't just like hey, look how cool it is. It's actually going to have pretty soon, hopefully, utility to it. So I grabbed one.
Nice.
And I definitely was more excited about that one than the NFTU, like the college sports ones I grabbed a few of those packs just because, again, I think it will do well, but they're still developing their community. They're still trying to figure out exactly what they're going to be entirely going to be. But the Star Trek one made sense to me. But again, it was pretty steep. And then the fans were like Star Trek, not NFT fans. It was pretty rough reception from Star Trek tweeting it out.
Yeah. Which is not that they're dying, like they have different shows on every few years. They'll make like a movie every X amount of years. But Star Trek didn't do well on VV either. Like we didn't get the hate that, Recur got, but it took a while for things to sell out. And I was thinking Star Trek, that's, like space, like the final frontier. But I feel like a lot of that as a brand, I guess a lot of the fans are older and they're not as into NFTs as like some of the younger people are.
I wonder if there'll be backlash from the Star Wars community then too. I mean, you can't appease everyone, right? But at the same time, I think everyone in our community will lose their minds. And I say when Star Wars does come, but I wonder if the people who are outside of the community will be really, will also have some backlash, right? Because Star Wars has been around for a long time and it also has older fans. Like I could see someone being like, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 you know, whatever. But I think Veve can use some of the momentum a little bit stronger than what they did with Star Trek.
Yeah. I mean,
next month.
Hmm?
You guys think it's coming next month? May the 4th be with you?
I don't want to get my hopes up for it.
A lot of speculation about that.
Well, we've tried to speculate with like special times on things like that before. And it seems like usually they align anniversaries of things. So I guess that would be a good thing to know is like what month did Star Wars first come out?
Ooh, that's
Star
a good one.
Wars Episode 4 release date. May 25th. So,
yeah, I think sometime next month we're going to get something. I believe so. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. There's a meme that I thought was hilarious. Trying to find it now. I don't think it's escaping me, but it was that meme template where it's Anakin and Padme in like a field, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting Star Wars. You know, I heard Doctor Strange is coming next month, but we're gonna get Star Wars though, right? We're gonna get Star Wars though, right? But probably just gonna get Doctor Strange."
A lot of good movies coming out.
Yeah, which would be fine. I'd be fine with either. Like if they want to wait, you know, and really build up that anticipation, then that's fine.
I almost think it makes sense to keep. And I mean, probably some people won't be happy with me saying this, but I think it almost makes sense to keep dropping not super exciting or like new things for a little bit until we have that desktop version and KYC and MTL, right? Because it'll be big news when we can cash out, especially since a lot of people have been waiting for it and it's been the number one thing for competitors to say against Veve, right? So it'll be a big kind of recharge. And then how do you keep the momentum off of that is you announce something big or a few big things lined up, right? So I wonder if they'll try to slot or work with some of the licensors to say, hey, I know you wanted to have this come out with maybe in like May or June, but how about after this? So that way you can really maximize the excitement in the secondary market.
What has the average the last few weeks been as far like we get the normal comics, you know, three times a week, but the average drop, like non-comic drop, has it been two drops on average? Because it used to just be one
for the comics.
No, for the non-comic drops, because we would usually have 4 drops a week. We would have 3 comics and then 1 non-comic drop. But I feel like the last few weeks we've had like at Moon Knight, we've had like the baseball stamp, we've had, you know, Kit. So I feel like
it's like 2 average.
Yeah. So yeah. I feel like if we get, I mean,
out of the A group, they said Dino said Taps, you're kicked out of the A gang for saying no Star Wars. Maybe you may.
Corinne, do you know about the Egg Gang? And Dino?
No, you know what? I was never a huge fan. I could never even, I don't know. I don't even think I watched all the movies or anything. Yeah, not.
So the Egg Gang has not too much to do with Star Wars. The Egg Gang is just, it's just Dino. I think he cracked an egg on his head like one stream. And
really?
Yeah, like he was doing like a mukbang thing, I think. And he just like had an extra egg. So, and people just like Egg Gang from now on. That's like he'll do raids, and I'll just be going live, and suddenly I'll get spammed with eggs. Like, egg raid.
And then Johnny does the aliens. Like he'll just come into a stream, and then they'll start putting like aliens or saucer ships and all that when they invade your streams.
I invaded Johnny Dunn with gators once. That was fun. It was a good time. Everyone just spamming gators.
That keeps it fun. What was I just gonna say? So let's talk about some collectibles and stuff in the app. Like, I know so blue chips, right? So everyone categorizes them as, the big ones. You've got the Riso and Superman, the Todd, the Walt, and, all of that. But I think at the end of the day, because me personally, I'm like, I think I'd probably win an award for worst flipper, like literally, like in a lot of your guys' streams, like, what's the best flip you've done, or the whatever. And I'm like, yeah, let's go for like the worst flips, because I've just had like horrible luck, and I'm still trying to kind of figure everything out, But I don't currently hold any of those right now. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you look up what a blue chip company is, blue chip stock, blue chip whatever, it's basically a company in a whole that brings in revenue, is successful, has, gosh, I forget what it was. I'm going to look up the definition again, but it basically described Veve in the marketplace as a whole, like not like pretty much anything that is coveted by Veve or dropped in the Veve app. I feel at the end of the day is going to be a blue chip, whether or not it's a Mighty or it's a Todd. And we don't really know what the utility for each of these are going to be. Like, it could turn out that the Mighties end up being some of the best, collectibles in the app, because they're one of the first games or have one of the first worlds in the Veveverse that nobody anticipated. Or the Myrmicornos, it's just, I want to look up blue chip. But for all of you out there that don't have the Supermans and the Todds and all of that, like myself, I just want to kind of send a message that, don't think that your collection or, what you hold is not a value, or that you have to be in this particular tier, to consider yourself like a blue chip holder. Cause I feel like it's more of what is like within you, like whatever you believe, is considered valuable, or I don't know. Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, it does. Like, of course. When I think about blue chips or like blue chip companies, basically it's just like a large company that's going to hold value well and is like well known, right? Like a Apple or a Microsoft or a Tesla now, but at one point those companies were not blue chips, right? And then they became blue chips over time. So to your point, we don't know what can happen, right? We know that vehicles are going to be drivable, and then at some point those will probably be, all sold out and the price will rally. Like once we heard, or for a while there, like the Dorians shot up in value quite a bit, but for up until a certain point, I think when they started talking about how they're going to be drivable in the Veveverse, they were really, really cheap. And so really, you could have stacked those up really, really high. And then when they did rally up, start selling some of them off. And then again, it's always buy low, sell high, right? But to your point, Corinne, you never really know like why they specifically created Marvel Mighties with Veve and have dropped so many of them. They look like they'd be perfect for some kind of game or some kind of mobile ability. And that's with a lot of the collectibles that we have, right? Some of them could become interactive with others. You never really know. And so something that's not a blue chip today could eventually come one once we have that gaming utility that's coming, or the metaverse side.
Yeah, so here's the definition. It says a blue chip is a stock or company with national reputation for quality, which we have, reliability, and the ability to operate profitably in good and bad times. So, I mean, even in the worst, we're still selling out of every single drop, so good and bad times, they're still profitable. And Reese made it sound like they're actually in a better position now financially to be able to go and hire more people for all these different, departments within the company than we were, a year ago when they were just starting. So, yeah, I'm excited about that, because I hold a lot of Mighties, and I'm a low mint hunter too. I mean, I don't have a ton of sub 100s, but the first sub 100 set that I actually did complete was the Rewind Collective drop that we just had. Nice. So I was able to snag the whole set in sub 100s. So that's I was amazing. Like, yeah, that's my blue chip.
I love the Marvel Mighties too. I have them all, even the Eternals, which nobody seems to like. And I think that'd be great. Like, yeah, if they have like a Pixion Games, You know, if that's one of the 3 games that's coming, and you know they use Marvel Mighties, and then like give it even more utility by saying, okay, you have a certain amount of attack points and hit points, whatever, per Marvel Mighty, except if they have sub 100 min. Sub 100 mins give it a little bit of a boost, like a buffer. And if you want the best advantage, you want the best team, you're gonna have to rent that out from somebody, because you can't just buy it. You have to rent it. I guess you could buy it from somebody, but that would be amazing. I would love that. But I just bought the kit car and the cheap Aston Martin and the 007 motorcycle, just because Veve's is coming out. Feels like one of those things might be racing. So
yeah, I think stacking those is smart.
Yeah, I don't think they need me. I think they have a lot of people working for them. Like maybe I actually messaged Reese once, and I was like, well, I've messaged him a lot, and but I know him a lot, but I messaged him once about that, saying like, hey, if you ever need like an idea, man, let me know. I'll just throw all my crazy ideas at you. Brock gave me that option for fiches because I had a bunch of ideas for the lore, and now I think he regrets it, because I'll be at like 3 a.m. I'll be on like Reddit r/conspiracies. I'm like, this would be great for fiche. So I'll message Brock at like 3 a.m. like, what if you did this and this and this with your fiche? And so that'd be fun.
I gotta look into that project. I had read a couple of his tweets from a while ago, and I think somebody had their fish tank in one of their streams, and I was like, oh, I think that's it. That's so cool. And you know, I had watched a panel a long time ago with some NFT projects that but Vizio was one of the CEO of Vizio, you know, the TV brand, was on there talking about how they, you know, just like they didn't want to be the next Blockbuster or somebody, they didn't come out with digital things that they were going to go under. So creating, you know, digital frames, picture frames, basically, that you can put on your wall and show your artwork or whatever else. And I was like, oh my gosh, one of those, the fish tanks would look really, really cool. You've got this plasma, it looks like a TV, but it's a digital, you know, frame that you can connect your NFTs, your art, and have like a slideshow or whatever. But that'd look really cool.
Yeah. I wonder, was it on your stream, Randy, that Brock said Omi will be used in, is that where he revealed it?
That might not be where he revealed it, because he had said that other places, but he did say that he will not only use it, but he'll burn half the supply. And then when Reese had said one of the games that we have will be play to earn, I tweeted that, and then Brock had retweeted that, and he said, you know, in italics, adds play to earn. I don't know if he's actually going to do that, or if that was just him like kind of trolling a little bit, having fun. But either way, that'd be amazing. We should get that in a few weeks from Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the mech suits, Tabs?
Yes.
They look great. I'll play it just for that. Corinne, what type of games are you hoping to have outside of like the racing game that we've talked about on Veveverse? What are types of things?
You know, I've never really been a big gamer, but you know, just like before Veve, I was never a collector. So Veve is actually what got me into collecting, and I'm starting to kind of go out and find digital, you know, just like physical collectibles now that I'm acquiring that I never thought I'd be interested before. So all I have to relate to are like, I loved Donkey Kong, Super Mario Brothers. I mean, I played some Street Fighter. I think having like some type of like a boxing game or something where we could like, you know, fight with our, I don't know, Riso against Todd or
I would love that.
Sure. I love racing games though. So yeah.
There's so much that they could do with it. Like a like Super Smash Brothers type game, either with Mighties or without Mighties. I think that also, we were talking about vehicles, but there are other like the Myrmicornos, like that are horses and ponies. Why can't they race as well? Like that'd be awesome to see like an Aston Martin racing against like a Myrmicorno. It's against like a Stellina.
I would exclusively race my Myrmicornos against cars.
That'd be great if you could, like, let's say the cars are base, their base form is faster, but once you really like soup up the Myrmicornos, like you buy a cape, like there's 10,000 capes that you can get, and one of the capes, I don't know, increases speed, and then you buy a hat, and then you buy little like hooves, like mechanical hooves, to make it go faster. So it'd be kind of like a free to play, like almost like pay to win, not really pay to have an advantage, because this way, and that'd be so great for Veve to be able to have Veve exclusive hooves for the Myrmicornos, or Veve exclusive NOS that is rechargeable for the Ecto ones, and people would load up on that every single race, and that's just constant Omi burning. We got to get this to Reese.
You know what's cool though is, and like when you think about Omi, you think about it how it's tied to Veve, right? Like it's an NFT project token. It doesn't have really utility yet, but it's going to. But this going into the gaming side, that makes it also a gaming token, a play to earn token, right? And you've seen what's happened with play to earns in the past. And so that's also how some of our content and other content creators will become born from it too, right? So you can then talk about play to earn Omi in, Epico Regal or whatever is going to be coming down the pipeline. And then I also think about maybe that's one of the reasons, and I didn't think to ask during my interview, dang it, that he did say, I was like, hey, have we lost some of these licensors? And he said, none of the ones that we've announced, just maybe potentially NFLPA, but we still have Capcom. That means we still have Dragon Hunter or all those ones, right? So that were specific to gaming. So I wonder if those will be coming out after they have some games going, because it just kind of makes sense, right? Like, hey, Omi is not just an NFT token. It's going to be a metaverse token, but now it's also a gaming token, which also fits really, really good with Immutable X, right? So
perfect.
Yeah.
So we've got the utility side behind it. Well, we will eventually, then we've got the gaming and we've got the NFT. I mean, really, I can't think of another token that has all three. And from what I remember, Omi wants to be that main digital asset currency like Ethereum is to OpenSea. Eventually it'll be like the main token that everyone knows that goes in and purchases things. And I think that's where the whole scaling issue comes in, and why we're seeing some of these other things be able to be sold for Omi, but are Veve collectibles, because there's, I don't know, almost 2 million of them that had to be minted. That's a lot that they just don't know if they can handle right now. And I'm not sure if one of the recent drops that we had, remember when they weren't the Coke, it was Coke and the baseball cards, when they weren't available in the marketplace right away. And they mentioned it was something on the IMX side.
Yeah, that's happened before.
That might have been some type of a test, maybe, as far as scalability or whatnot. And
maybe.
I don't know. That was just kind of one of my thoughts, but
something that gives me, and this is kind of really big speculation here, I don't actually know, but when Reese was interviewed by Akil Patterson and he said that they had to pay for the Veveverse, that makes me think that that's one of the things that is not vertically integrated, and they're having a third party build it for them. We know it's being built on the Unity engine, and we also know that Disney filed for their metaverse as well. And Disney historically is not good at making games, so they pay like Square Enix for like some of their stuff, like some Kingdom Hearts, whatever. What if the person or the company that is building the metaverse for us is also building it for Disney and Capcom and Street Fighter, and just, if we become like the hub, and I get it, like Moon Boy speculation, but that kind of goes in line with a question that we had here, is that I think DBZ would be a wall killer. I don't know about that, but we can get an amazing fighting game with DBZ or with anything. I think Spider-Man is probably one of the best on the app, but do you guys think that anything could dethrone partner statue, like Walt and Mickey? Like, that is like easy top two. Like,
yeah,
what could do it?
Pokemon for sure.
Oh yeah,
could dethrone. I mean, Disney's, arguably one of the very most top brands in the world, right? Mickey is the most recognized figure or character in the world, but it is still it's a statue, right? Which, and I'm not trying to say wallets are invaluable; they're extremely valuable. But when you can bring in like Pokemon, animated Pokemon, I do think DBZ will do incredible, especially if they have the ability to be animated or powered up and have different characters, or there's a way to build in the blockchain, which I know there is with other projects where you can have them evolve. Like if you could have, a Goku who could then either have some utility or do certain things. Maybe you have to like morph to make it a Super Saiyan version. Like you could always evolve things, whether it's Pokemon or Saiyans and like that, because you have the ability to change the blockchain. We're just talking about how like, is it an NFT if you can change the blockchain? Well, you can code in different sides depending on how it's open or not, right? So yeah, I mean, I think wallets are amazing, but we have other collectibles that are worth more than wallets, right? And I think we'll have more that will come that have a really different coolness factor and will be, I mean, especially with the one-on-ones, right? Those are going to be nuts, especially if it's something like a Banksy potentially.
So the burning the NFTs, I just had a thought of. Let's say like let's say we have Pokemon, you get like a Growlithe, and the only way to change him is by getting a Firestone. And let's say there's only X amount of fire. You buy that Firestone NFT, you burn it so that Growlithe could evolve into Arcanine. Or like you have a Piccolo and Nail NFT from Dragon Ball Z, but in order to become like Supreme Piccolo, you fuse Nail, you burn Nail and Piccolo, and then you do the same thing with Kami, and it becomes a Super Namek. The type of thing would be amazing. I would burn.
I think we will have something like that in the future. There will be, options to burn collectibles to either pick from a pool of another or to possibly get an upgrade or add accessories or something. Yeah, I definitely think that's coming. Do you guys think when Pokemon is dropped, because we all know it's coming, it's just a matter of when, will it be like, you think I think it's going to be like a card, like Pokemon Go or like a card game. I don't know if it's going to actually be Pokemon figures, statues. I think it'll be more of like a card game. What do you guys think?
Same. Yeah.
Oh,
I've said that for quite some time. Yeah. That was like when everyone's talking, it's been a long time to talk about Pokemon. I think there's definitely a lot of things that have to happen before it comes now. But I think I've been speculating since, I don't know, summer, that I think it's the card game because, Al Khan said in an interview a while back that he no longer has the Pokemon license because he's no longer a part of he's Contagious. What was it before?
4Kids?
4Kids. He's no longer, 4Kids, I think, went bankrupt or did something, and their business model went down basically. And so he formed Contagious, but he no longer has the Pokemon license, what he said in that interview, but David still does. And what he was referring to is David still has the trading card game Pokemon license when you look at his store Vagabond. So we've seen how successful cards have been with Gods Unchained and with obviously HRO now. There's proof points there. And I think that would do really, really well in Veve especially.
Yeah, I agree.
So the reason why I'm thinking that we wouldn't get a card game is because I am pretty big into the card game. Like I still have it on my phone. Like I go and I was a big like battler when I was younger, like for the card game, and you can't have it be limited. Like you can't have it be a limited amount of cards, because if you want to build, let's say, a fire deck, and you need, 4 Charmanders, 2 Charmeleons, and 2 Charizards, and then you want a Ponyta, and there's a lot that you need. You can't just get one and be fine. Like in order to be competitive with it, like grass deck is probably biggest because you need a bunch of Caterpies, Metapod, and Butterfrees. Same thing with the Bulbasaur line and the Nidoking line as well. You need a bunch of them, and I feel like something like a Venusaur or a Charizard, those would probably be relatively rare, unless that'd be pretty rare. And
so let me backtrack. I guess not a TCG, but just trading cards, right? A lot of people like yourself collect Pokemon cards to play, but a lot just collect for Pokemon cards, right? They actively don't play the game still. So I think putting in a whole gaming engine to actually have a trading card game that's either the same as Pokemon's or maybe a new type of one would be a big lift, but they could just come out with the cards, and that alone, I mean, you'd have you'd have Logan Paul losing his mind. You have a bunch of people losing their mind just to hop into VV for that, right? So the trading cards alone with no game would do spectacular, right? But if there was a game, that would be awesome. But yeah, to your point, Randy, I mean, you would need a crazy amount of either cards, or you would need, I guess, once you go into that game format, like if you have a Charizard, it equals 3 Charizard, or I don't know, something like that, and it's like shuffled random. I don't know, like,
I mean, I guess they could
worked
do
out really weirdly.
They could do first edition Shadowless Unlimited. Like they could have one print run or mint run of like first edition. Hey, these are the cards. They're just collectibles. They have that little one for first edition, and the rest of them that we're gonna make, they won't have that first edition stamp, and they'll be unlimited. And you could buy as many packs as you want, and it could be like real life, where you buy a pack and there's a 1 in 3 chance that you'll have a holo on it, but that you'll get a rare, you get a holo. So maybe they go and they do that. They'll put out packs for like $5, $10, whatever, and you can just buy as many as you want. But yeah, if they have what you're saying, like Logan Paul, Andre Jick, me, Ray Lewis. Oh God, who's the guy from Gymshark that I had on? Lewis, I forget his name.
Morgan.
Lewis Morgan. Sorry, Lewis Morgan, if you're watching. There's going to be so many heavy hitters that would spend hundreds of thousands, like just for certain cards, if not millions. I would be one of them if only millions.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think that's a while out, right? We always get excited when we talk about Pokemon because but you asked, what could do better than a Walt, and there are already things that could do better Walt, but I mean, I think there's a lot of different brands and licensors that we don't even expect yet, right? I mean, like Corinne said earlier, she's so excited for the VVverse. I'm really excited for the VVverse because I think that's going to change also some of how we see the values, because right now people build value on the brands, the licensors, the total edition size. But when we have our VV homes in the VVverse and we have a metaverse to interact, you're going to have some collectibles that go up in value because they look better, they have better use in the VVverse. So some of the things that right now have high value, they might be static, right? Or just not as interactive in the VVverse. So some of the things that are static now because they're in our vaults or just, in our app could actually go up in value once you can drive them or just have further interaction in the VVverse.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. I think it's awesome that every collector that has downloaded the app has collectibles in their app and been active for, I don't remember how long you had to be active for when the VVverse is like actually implemented. You get a house. Like you don't have to buy the house to buy the land to be able to have your showroom. That VV's basically correct me if I'm mistaken, but isn't that the way that it's going to happen? That, if you have an account and you hold collectibles, you have a showroom, that you're going to get a house in the VVverse already that will basically be your new showroom that you can build off of, right? So even if you don't have the money to buy land, and you have the app, you're still going to have a house.
Yeah, it'll be in like the ether, but you could put the house on land if you get land.
Okay.
But that's coming later. Like everyone will have a house. If you have an account, you have a house. But I don't think it's like everyone who's been around. I think if you join VV, you're going to be able to ad hoc a house or something like that. But land purchases will probably come later in different phases, right? Like obviously, I think, and I'm speculating here, but I think how they want to phase out is the VV home and then potentially like that VV city that they spoke about where like we can do drops, collaboratively in there. They'll have to do a whole lot of updates to UI as well. But I think that'll evolve out and then make that really whole over a couple different like facelifts and all that. And then maybe do like a land drop where it's like, hey, we're going to do, a Marvel world. And if you have X amount of Marvel collectibles, you can participate in the drop, and here's how much the cost in OMI is for that drop, which imagine how much OMI that would burn, right?
It's going to be like Monopoly. I'm going to buy up everything. I'm going to go nuts. It's going to be insane. I'll buy it.
Really excited for the NFT to OMI or MTL. What would you rather have first if you got to choose?
OMI to NFT.
Yeah.
100%.
That utility.
Yep.
Utility is going to be huge.
Definitely.
There is with utility for the collectibles. I'm so curious to see if like, and I use Myrmicornos just because it's fun. I don't think I have any of them anymore, but if they give utility to Myrmicornos, like there's a Myrmicorno land, you could only get in if you have a Myrmicorno. Suddenly and let's say it's just a fun game. Like, let's say there's a game on there, like a Marvel game, like a Deadpool game, and it's just not really fun, but there's a really fun Myrmicorno game, and Myrmicorno suddenly outpaced Deadpool. But I also think there might be some playful measuring sticks with different companies. Because what if Star Wars, one of the executives that are at Star Wars, they go and they have Vader be really badass and awesome, and then one of the main executives at Disney is like, okay, hold my beer, and they give Walt utility, and then they go back and forth and try to outdo each other with utility, and that's just under the same umbrella. You have something like Pokemon, like, oh well, this secret rare Mewtwo can get you this, and this secret rare Mew can, when fused together, like I don't know. That'd be great if you capture all 3 legendary birds, and then you could go and get Lugia, because that's what happens in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think constantly about how they've always said Veve is like, they want it to be for collectors, but up until this point, it has definitely been more for flippers, right? I mean, it's been a great way to make money. Like, if you flipped strategically, you have whatever you need, right? But overall, it is definitely more beneficial for collectors, but they've always stated that they wanted to be for collectors, right? So I think the MCP coming, and then I imagine they'll loop that into the Veveverse, right? Eventually, it'll be kind of like how it was in November, but then escalated, where, we have, let's say, like 8,000 or something like that of let's say DeLoreans. Well, we'll have a ton of people in the Veveverse, and X amount will have those DeLoreans. And so I remember when they talked about renting out collectibles in the Veveverse, a lot of people were like, why would I rent something? But to your point, Randy, is like, you can't race your DeLorean and play that game if you don't have a DeLorean. So you need to rent it from some people. Yep. And maybe you need to have X amount of points to even rent, or you need to be staking in the right tier in order to rent. So I think we'll see, especially with the Veveverse coming, a lot more of the collector valuability coming in.
I think so. And I think mint numbers are going to have, whether it'll be that top 5% or it'll be sub 100s or special significant years or dates, especially because we don't have the 1-to-1s right now, because our collections of 10,000 are all the same. So like what you were saying earlier, Randy, about, being able to add certain things to the Myrmicornos, those would then differentiate your Myrmicorno versus mine. Being able to add something to it. But until that happens, and even when it does, the mint numbers really are the only thing that separate them. So, and in my interview that I did with Jeremy Padower with the Women of Veve shortly before Taps and I's last year, you can go back to reference, my question to him specifically was, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the physical world, you've got the wear and tear and all these different things you go in to get it graded that, basically determine whether you have a 9 or an 8.0 or whatever it is. But in a collection of 10,000, is it the mint numbers? Is having a lower mint number basically what differentiate your collection, and how the value will be determined? And he basically said 100%, you hit it on the nail. And subconsciously, we're already kind of doing that. I know, what was it? Sean, he's kind of implemented the whole grading system with certain NFTs and comics, and, basically going off the same, if you have like the top 5% or 10%, it's like 9.0 and above or whatnot. And there's been kind of a lot of kickback about that. But if you think about it, when you go into the market and you search from lowest mint to highest mint, we've already basically have it implemented. I mean, the lowest mints are the highest price. You know, it's just nothing's been like officially, you know, put yet.
Well, they do that with MCP points, right? 5%, the lowest 5%, you get more points. So they've already kind of done that, but there's nothing like this is the exact structure on valuable, like, but so we've kind of helped that narrative.
Yep.
Agreed. So there's Tony Tone says, I need to push back on a little bit. I love Elsa. I love Frozen. That is like one of a really, really good Disney movie. But the people at Disney have said that they do not consider Elsa a Disney princess because she had her coronation and she is queen. So as far as Disney princesses go, I don't know if she counts. And now obviously the public and the free market will decide which one is which, but as far as like the official word of that goes, because she's considered a queen, she is not. She
was a princess.
She was
before she became queen.
That was my argument. That's what I said. Like, but she was a princess at some point. But they don't consider her one. So when they do,
he drops another princess, then there could be talk that
that would be the first one.
Interesting.
So I'm really curious about it. Like, I think Elsa's amazing in general, and she'll be. I had one once. I gotta get another one. I gotta get her back.
Still have mine.
Yeah.
I don't have mine anymore.
I'm on the journey to keep completing sets. However, I'm torn because I almost don't want to keep completing sets because Randy, and Corinne, you'll be happy to see what my current set number is.
Is it 69?
Oh yeah.
Woo, look at you.
I realize is like, I know another one that I want to. I'm going to keep completing sets because, up into the Veveverse, I'm going to try to get it done. But man, it's 69. I gotta keep it here for a little bit.
I feel you.
So many sets that are so easy to complete right now that people don't think about, like a lot of the decon stuff. I mean, you've got one item, one collectible sets that are for under 100 gems, 300 gems. I mean, especially in the decon. There's, what is it, that Ventura one, from, God, what movie was that? Anyways, it's at like 150 right now. That's a single set. And then what was that? Captain Carter. She's under like 200 gems right now. Single set. I mean, there's so many single set items. I mean, even the 007 posters you can collect. I mean, you can complete probably 10 sets right now if you are frugal for under 1,000 gems, or close to it. So it's crazy.
So let me ask you guys a question. The MCP points, like you're getting sets because of MCP points. Most people are like they want to collect sets, either to like kind of show off like, oh, I have this many sets, or because they know that it'll get them MCP points. But I think that unless they have like 40%, which they might, of a certain collectible going into MCP points, like saying you have to bet a certain amount of MCP points to get this collectible. If you're not in that top 30% or whatever, you're probably not going to get that collectible. So it doesn't really matter how many sets you have when you're betting MCP points.
Well, it increases your odds, right? But
you still have to bet.
Yeah.
But if somebody has more sets than you, then they're going to have more MCP points than you. Now they don't have to blow their load like the whole time, but I gave up on the sets for that reason. So I just collected more of what I liked, and so I only have like 20 something sets. Moving forward, are you guys going to continue with sets, or at some point be like, well, I could spend a couple $100 and get this set, or get something that even you don't necessarily like, but you think is just going to be worth a lot of money, like another Disney Golden Moment, because those I think are pretty undervalued.
So completing sets for MCP to try to get some of those stacked up, because I do think some people will, like, when there is a next big announcement, whether it's like Star Wars potentially in May, or potentially Jurassic Park with the movie coming out this year. I think if MCP is out around those, I guess not May if MCP is not around the time, but I think a lot of people will get excited when MCP does come, and there will be probably a few different big drops, right? So some people will, blow their MCP points on some of those early ones, and then there could be something coming later where it's like, okay, I've been stacking up and still have those. And so it's been a mix of MCP points, but it's also everything is down right now, right? So
Yeah.
I've been also looking at, all right, if I can complete, a set for, I'm missing one collectible and it's $100 or something that's way lower than now. And I'm completing sets that I think are strategic, not just like really, really cheap ones, but still also stacking things that I think will go up in value first. So I think you have to do both, right? If you're only out to complete sets, then you pretty much only have to do that unless you just have a ton of bankroll to do what you want. But yeah, I think you have to like do mix, because MCP points will be used strategically, but not probably as strategic as if you were to like stack up a ton of golden moments or rewind or things like that. And then just, once we do rally back up to highs, you sell 20 of them, 40 of them, however many, and take that capital and then complete sets then. But they're retroactive, right? So even if you sold all those then and then, completed a bunch of sets later, you get those points from that point on, and not just from the past, months and months and months.
Yeah. I go back and forth, and I think it's like, what is your goal? Are you, for somebody that maybe doesn't have a problem with liquidity and can dump as much money into the app as they want, they may not care as much about the MCP points, because they figure if they don't get the drop, they'll just buy it secondary on the market. But for me, I've been going back and forth. The last time, because I have been taking advantage of the dips, I went in and completed a bunch of sets. I, was missing like one from like 6 or 7 different sets. And I just said, okay, I'm just going to tie up all these loose ends. I had wanted to get, a couple Spider-Mans once they dip back under 4 originally. Now I think they're much lower than that. I had enough gems to almost get 2. I was like, because just having one of something has really screwed me so many times, especially if it's just one Superman or one really valuable one that doesn't really drop a lot. And so having stacks of something or even 2 of something is my next goal. But this last purchase that I did, I went and filled in and completed a bunch of sets. I think I was at 19 and now I'm at like 27. So I was able to finally, but now moving forward, I would really like to be able to try and get, at least a UR Spidey. If not, Secret Rare is way out of my ballpark right now, but the UR still animated, not very many additions, it's still Spidey. And then on top of that, I'd like to get a Todd, would like to stack some golden moments from season 1.
Yeah.
Maybe not even have all of them, maybe not complete the sets, but find one and maybe buy 2 or at least 2 or 3 of that one so that I can use it later on. So that's kind of my game plan now.
That's good. That's fair. Yeah. I appreciate that. On 3, we should all shout out happy birthday, Wendy. So 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday, Wendy!
My BB sister.
She
did Johnny Dunn just like just go take a nap? He's just like
I don't know, is he cheering for us silently?
Totally shut down, and
poor Johnny Dunn. Disappointed. Not his fault. We had this plan, and then poor Johnny Dunn. Not his fault.
I know. He was so excited too.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff we talked about too. He'd be bouncing in his seat.
Right? Oh, cute.
He'd get so bullish. It would go and have so I've promised some really crazy things, which will happen. Like, when we get to $1, I'll have Lindsey Sterling play a private concert for a bunch of us, and at 30 cents, I'll pay for everyone's Omi tattoos. Would you guys do anything crazy like Omi gets to 50 cents, like you shave your heads or something?
I wouldn't shave my head, but I might do something else.
I suppose so. I'm trying to think what though. Like, I mean, if Omi hits 30 cents, that would be like I wouldn't have to work anymore. So I don't have any tattoos yet. I've wanted tattoos, so potentially, right? I mean,
Oh, Taps, we got to get you a tattoo, buddy.
I mean, I've always wanted tattoos. I really like the idea of having like a half sleeve. I've like even potentially drawn out some that I kind of want, but just haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. But I think having like if Omi hits 30 cents and like that's how I retire early, then yeah, that's definitely on the table.
When Omi hits 30
Yeah.
cents.
Oh, did I say if? Sorry.
When
Yeah.
it's coming, it will.
How much for a tattoo of Randy's face on Taps?
How much you got? Do you know?
So people had asked me like, will you shave your head live on stream? And like, we settled when Omi was at like 0.005. We settled at like at 4 million Omi, I would do it. But now that it's only at 0.00 like 25, I don't know if that's still worth it. I mean, it's still definitely worth it, you know, to do it, but it's hard. Hello K is asking about price prediction for Donald Duck golden moments. I mean, Donald Duck's part of the Fab Five. You know, you got that
stacking them ducks.
Yeah, he's got like 60 of them, I think.
Yeah, he's got a lot.
Wow.
He's got all the ducks. I think the Donald Ducks are solid for golden moments. I mean, you know, you look at some of the other ones that are compared, like they look really solid, and then also it might be the only golden moment statue that is altered from the actual physical statue. Like they had to change it.
Yeah.
So it is pretty unique to Veve. But I mean, I think it's a solid one to have. It was the Valentine's one. Is like that one and Lady and the Tramp, and it definitely looks good in the Veve showroom. So wow. Yeah, I'm a fan of them.
It's only $390 also.
Wow.
This easily goes to $1,000 at some point.
Definitely.
And even just in the next couple months, not even including, God, this gets utility. Like if Disney Golden Moments get utility, not even getting you free into the park, but it's kind of like, yeah, you get 10-15% off on concessions, and then you could rent it. Oh my! Even if he rents his for like, you know, $5 a day, he's got 60 of them. It's $300 a day. He's chilling Monday through Friday, $1,500 a week. Now, I imagine he's a really smart guy, developer, so he probably makes more than that. But at that point, you're just renting ducks. More Star Wars talk. I don't know. So there's a lot of different parks. Like, have you guys heard of that new Star Wars hotel they have at Disney?
Is that the one in Florida that they have, or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like $2,500 a night, and yeah, it's insane. And they just launched it, and I want to. That's another thing. If Omi goes, like, when Omi goes, even at like, I don't know, 3 cents, I'll go and stay at that hotel. I'll stream it for everyone. I'll stay for like 3 nights, and one day I'll just take everybody around the hotel and be like, hey guys, I'll just stream that. So that could probably happen this year.
I know you'll take profit on the way up. At least you probably should. But when Omi hits 30 cents, if you didn't take profit, that would be $39 million, Randy.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely enough to get tattoos.
Yeah, I will probably. So this past couple months have not been fun trying to figure out how to pay for taxes, and I don't want this issue again where it takes up like real estate in my head. So I think as it goes up, I will sell like $1 million at like 5 cents, or even a couple million, like one at 2 cents, one at 5 cents, that type of deal. Just to have cash on hand. And but I mean, as long as I keep doing YouTube, I pay the bills with that. Not this month because I was like sick for like 2 weeks, so I haven't gone on much. But that's also assuming that I still have 131 by that time. I'm hoping to have more in the next couple weeks. So we'll see. I mean, it's been a mission, been a struggle, but we'll try to go harder.
I wish you would have taken that. Well, actually, no, that'd be mean because then I would have $1 million of your Omi right now if you would have taken that bet with me a couple months ago in our private chat.
Oh, what was the bet again?
It was when we were at like 0.0078 and I had just personally inboxed just a couple people and just kind of gave my own technical analysis on things and how I was expecting a dip, and we've got a lot of lower liquidity at the 0.0035, 0038 range. And I made a post on Facebook about it. And I had a lot of people at that time like, oh, you're hating. Why are you going to say we're going to go down? We're going to go down. Or like, we're going to get to the all-time high. And I'm like, it's just I've been studying charts and technical analysis for a really long time. And what comes up must come down at some point. And history repeats itself. And, not a lot of good things were happening at the time. And I just play by play, I called it. But I had inboxed you and a few others. And because I know you have a very large Omi holding and just, hey, I have a feeling we might get down to this point. And I said, hey, I'll bet you $1 million Omi if we get down to 0.004 or whatever, because you're like, oh, we're not going to get down there. And you're like, but if we do, I'm not betting $1 million because then it's way down.
I have a couple of bets. Like the couple that we just talked about, the one that I just agreed with live on air. Yeah. And somebody said Mr. Pags. I have a small bet, a 20,000 Omi bet with Mr. Pags. He thinks that we'll have Pokemon announced, like Veve will announce Pokemon by May 4th. I think that we won't. I think that they'll announce it.
Pags
maybe.
Said that?
Yeah, Pags said that. So
this May?
Yeah, he said by May 4th. So
I think that's a safe bet for you.
Yeah.
I hope so. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'll gladly pay. But there's but yeah, so that's interesting.
Well, that's where the May the 4th be with you. So he's thinking that by then there will be much more than speculation.
Yeah, 1, 2. So it's about 2.5 weeks away from today. So as long as by May 4th they don't have it, then I get an extra 20,000 on me.
Nice.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever? I know, Taps, you're pretty frugal. Have you guys really scrimped and saved because you need more Omi, more NFTs? Like, what's the craziest thing you've done or not done just so you can get more Omi or NFTs? Like, did you put off a vacation, or is it like, I don't need to eat today, and you just go?
I guess the biggest change is, there's I still have stocks and all that. And I've actively taken or sold some stocks that I didn't really want to get more Omi and Veve collectibles. And there's just, for the past, I don't know how many months now, where part of my paycheck immediately goes into Veve, right? That's just part of Veve gets part of my paychecks, almost like I'm paying alimony to Veve. And, and so I think that in itself has been, kind of crazy, right? If I so like you said, I'm pretty frugal in the sense that I don't really spend a lot of money on much luxury or like that. I'm very much into investing, and that's where 95% of my money goes into other crypto stocks and things like that. But, I have definitely looked back and been like, I'm nervous to go out too much to eat, but I'm throwing hundreds to thousands of dollars every single month. I guess thousands of dollars every single month into Veve NFT collectibles and Omi, right? So that in itself, for someone who is frugal, is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a quick story about Taps, and then I'll have Corinne go. When Taps had just gotten done, it was at Designer Con. Said on Disney Week, he's like, yeah, I just spent $4,000 or $6,000 on Disney Golden Moments. I was like, oh wow, you're going hard on that. It's like, yeah, and obviously that worked out. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, hey Randy, can I play a song for you? It's like, yeah, sure. And then he goes to play something on his phone, and I hear a YouTube ad. I was like, is that a YouTube ad? You spent thousands of dollars on collectibles, but you don't pay the $12 a month to get YouTube Premium so that you don't have to watch ads. Like, is that what you're telling me right now? He's like, yeah. It's like, I'm cheap, bro.
I mean, annually, that's what
Hundreds.
$160. That could buy me 2, sometimes 5 collectibles, Randy.
Right?
Look at boy.
Yeah. That's how I look at things too. It's like, something that I used to spend a few $100s on, or maybe like some new makeup or new purse or whatever. Now I look at that and I think, gosh, $400 or $500 for that. I'd much rather have my Veve collectibles. Like, I have a harder time spending money on even nice dinners and things. It's like, and I don't know what, and I have to stop myself sometimes because it's like, okay, you're really okay with spending $500 or $1,000 in Veve app, but you're not going to spend it on this. Okay. And I got to like do this like psychology thing with myself. But at the end of the day, it's, that certain amount of money is allocated for Veve every month. Absolutely. And I have liquidated some of my other investments that I have had, not a whole lot, but I've definitely moved as much as I can into Veve and less into those.
Yeah, I mean, this is also an investment too. Like, get a nice dinner. You don't have much to show. You have a nice memory, but you can't get the money back.
Yeah.
But in Veve NFTs, you get a nice memory and you can get money back.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't mean like I don't do anything. Like I still spend money on like travel. Like now that the world is like reopened for the most part, like I still, travel out of state a couple times a year, and I'm going to be back to trying to leave the country every single year. So travel's always been one of my passions, and I'll always spend money there. But yeah, same Randy, like taxes based on some of those gains last year was rough. So I had some pretty big expenditures this year. So I, like, everything's down. I'm like, oh, I really want to stack, Todd's and some more golden moments and all that. And I'm like, well, I should probably pay some of these things that I need to get paid, and then hopefully we're still where we're at, in which, I think I've paid my taxes, but got some other things that I've weaned out, and then cash flow is good again.
Yeah, same. I was just in Atlantic City trying to get more funds. It worked, but it came at a cost, so I got sick. So I'll try to be frugal as well, like eating Taco Bell and doing whatever. But there was you're gonna cringe at this. At one point, and I fixed it since then, but there was at one point like last year where I couldn't. My Amazon Prime account was giving me like issues where I could watch something on my phone, but I don't want to watch it on my phone. I wanted to watch it on my tablet, and it wouldn't let me go over. So I made a new Amazon Prime account so I could just watch it on my tablet. And it was like, yeah, so I spent that extra $100, like, just so I could watch stuff on my tablet.
They can't.
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Device, so you get like X amount of devices you could do that with.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do it, so I couldn't figure out how to do it. But then eventually, I explained to them what I did and like what happened. Like, oh, here's a quick, easy fix, and then they refunded me. I was like, oh, all right, cool. But yeah, so I remember. I guess it's like a learning curve to have money, because I remember Mr. Pags was in New Jersey, and he's like, yo, like you and the girlfriend, like, come on over. And I was like, I don't know, like we're kind of drunk, like, and he's like, we'll take an Uber. And I was like, oh, that'd be expensive. He's like, dude, you have like 100-something million owe me. Like, just take the $200 Uber. I was like, all right, yeah, I probably should. Corinne, question for you. What's your current technical analysis for Omi saying? I think T-Plex mentioned some accumulation on Randy's interview. Yeah, that was a great interview. But what's your analysis right now?
I don't have my computer open in front of me, but I don't anticipate things to change as drastically on the downside. I think we're pretty much at the bottom, or as low of the bottom as we're going to be. I think that anybody that was looking to take money off the table probably took it at the 0.0033, maybe 0028 mark. Anybody that's still in it and still holding at this point, I feel like if they were going to sell, they already would have sold. There's already been fear in the market, which is typically there's this chart that it's actually the psychology of, trading and it has like all the different levels, when it's bullish, you're this, and, there's that level of fear. And I feel like we've already hit that level of fear. So, when I made the post about, what was it, 4 months ago, when we were at the 0.0078, 0.008, I actually converted all my OMI into USDT to a stable coin. So I got out right after that message that I sent you, Randy.
And then you got right back in. Oh, good for you.
Nice.
Great trade. That was a great trade.
I sold at the 0.0078, and then I got back in at 0.0028, wrote it back up to 0.35, and then sold again. And I'm pretty much getting ready to buy back in. So I've been teetering, trying to accumulate as much as I can without actually having to put. I don't have like a bunch of liquidity to keep putting back into it. But the only reason that I made that claim in the beginning, it wasn't because I had less hope in the company. It wasn't because I thought they were going to fail. It was when you have a big run up really, really fast. And that's pretty much what happened. When we launched on Uniswap on March 19th, and I remember that because that was my birthday. And I stayed up all night. Like, I got to get this. I had never bought anything crypto in my life. So I had to like teach myself everything basically. But when you have a big run up like that, and then you don't ever come back down, and it just keeps going and going, it's just a matter of time before we have that pullback, that huge pullback, because there's just a lot of money sitting at a lot of lower levels and a lot of whales that have gone in between that before we continue up, they're going to want to take some money off the table. So I knew that we were due for that. I don't anticipate that we'll ever go back to the all-time low, especially with all the stuff that's around the corner and, the end of Q2, a lot of things are supposed to be happening. So right now I would say is without having my computer open and not financial advice, of course, is a good time to buy. Even if we do dip a little bit lower, it's your risk to reward ratio is don't really have to worry about.
I just had Crypto Rain on the podcast, and he said that, when everyone's like really fudding and they're fearing, like, oh, he's like, that's the best time to buy. So he's been buying a lot recently.
You buy the fear.
Yeah. I do hope we go, like, because that'd be great for especially if we're going to start burning from the circulating supply, like betting OMI, MCP, OMI utility for the Q. I'd love it to go down to 0.0014 again. I'd buy more and we'd burn from the circulating supply. That'd be great.
I mean, if you can get $1 million OMI for $1,400,
right?
Nuts.
Where people, we were spending $6,000 for $1 million OMI before, or $7,000 at one point, right? So, I think, I know that I don't welcome the FUD, but selfishly, I would much rather pay that price and then have it rally back up eventually. But I don't think we'll see that price. I think the lowest, and I'm not, Corinne, I agree with Corinne, where like it could teeter a little bit lower or just bounce around. But with Reese kind of hinting in that interview about how the OUP article is going to be coming the next couple of weeks or so, and just kind of what's around the corner, I think that will also create some buying, because we'll see new staking tiers. We'll see some more news around the buybacks and more about how the ecosystem of the entire token is changing, the tokenomics. So really, and then the only thing I could see like really, really affecting the price is if we actually are, and there's a lot of talk about, recession and all that, but it's further down the line. If something really, really big did happen, in the next month, that could have an effect. But besides that, I think we're pretty settled.
So God's entry coming in like the Urukai that's getting ready to go blow up the deeping wall at Helm's Deep. 3-day death cross. It says first week of May, possible 50 to 60% drop. Now, that seems, for me, that seems a little ridiculous, just because there's, Michael Saylor just took out $200 million to go get more Bitcoin, and Tesla has Bitcoin on the balance. There's a lot of things that are happening now that didn't happen in 2018. But even if we don't drop 50 to 60%, even if we drop, another 25%, we go back down to 30 or 29K. There's a chance that OMI also gets taken out for the ride as well.
OMI hasn't really followed BTC though. I mean,
That's a good point.
Coincidentally, it has a few times, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really follow Bitcoin's trend. I mean, it kind of does its own thing. News obviously influences any token. So I think if we did see another drastic drop, I think it would be more. I don't think it would be necessarily related to BTC. I think there would have to be some big ball dropped, with nothing being implemented by the end of Q2. Some major crash. I don't know. I think something big within the app and the token itself would have to happen. But then again, who knows?
Yeah.
Who really knows?
OMI's trading volume is so low from where it once was.
What was it, like 1.5 million?
I mean, no, I think it's below that.
Really?
Yeah. 207,000.
Monitor here. Can't. Tab.
I mean, I'm looking on CoinMarketCap, which I know there's been some weirdness. Let me go to CoinGecko. But one thing too is like there's all this weirdness with the exchanges, like the ones that we currently have, right? With Gate.io and I think OKX, they just turned back on the ability to withdraw it, but we don't have the bridge. Like there's like with the OMI token right now, if this is it's low right now, right? But
yeah, the
exchanges besides Bit4X and maybe BitMax or something like that, are like there's still not a whole lot of. It's worse off than where it was a few months ago since we've made the switch to Ethereum, right, or Immutable X. So the fact that it's still where it's at is pretty strong. So once they kind of iron out some of the issues with the current exchanges, once we get more exchanges, once we get that OMI utility article, I mean, the price has shot up since that interview, which is kind of cool to see.
I think people feel like they have. I know for me, I feel like I have much more time to accumulate OMI. I don't know how much time, but then the collectible side. I mean, we're very bearish on both ends, marketplace and for the actual chart itself. But I think people are putting their money into trying to either complete the sets for MCP or maybe grab some of those grails that they can rather than buying OMI right now until they feel like maybe they're about to miss their chance and some of this utility is going to get added in. Because I know for me right now, where it used to be whatever extra money I had, I would go buy OMI and try to flip and refund my Veve account with selling, things that I had stacked or duplicates. Whereas right now, I'm doing the opposite. I'm actually funding my Veve account and not my OMI yet because I feel like I still have more time. And, David and them, back to when he said it was a collector's app, that side of it is always going to come, not always, but for now, that is first. The token is going to come after. So I feel like until we have KYC and MTL and even the desktop version, I feel like until that stuff is like implemented in and working, then we'll see the rollout of the utility. And I feel like when that happens, it's just gonna take off, and it's never gonna come back ever.
Yeah. So I mean, Reese said he only had 4 to 5 exchanges planned for the next 12 months, and this is back in March, but that didn't account for any type of renegade listings. Like, let's say we have
Gate.io was right.
Yeah, Gate.io. So there's going to be some exchanges that just want a piece of the action. Like, oh, we could list it. So even though there's only 4, let's say 4, they plan for 4 to 5. Let's say 4. I think there'll actually be 6 or 7, just because other people will want this so bad, and they'll just list it without him. Over the next 12 months, that'd be slow but steady. What exchanges are you guys hoping for?
I mean, I'd obviously
or believe is coming.
The what?
Hoping for or believe is coming.
I guess believe. Which ones do you think make the most sense?
I mean, I think definitely an app-based that's just easier to use is more widely accepted. So a Crypto.com or a KuCoin, I think they're going to keep Binance and Coinbase in their pocket for a while. Like I think once Coinbase NFT marketplace eventually integrates with Immutable X, like that's when you announce it. That's when you like really take that excitement to the next level. And like with a listing as well as, hey, Veve NFTs could now be in Coinbase NFT marketplace because of Immutable X migration.
Such a double whammy.
Yeah, like I think that one makes sense to hold on to for now. And then we'll probably see one thing that Reese did say on the interview was that they're also looking at, he mentioned Uniswap, is that they're also looking at another decentralized exchange, right? So potentially Pancake Swap, maybe something like that, you know,
Swap
or Sushi Swap, yeah. Like so that kind of stuck out to me. You know, there's only so many that are really popular. So really curious what they would be looking at there.
Good point.
Yeah, interesting.
With Coinbase that has invested into Immutable X, and you know, Reese said that we're not on Immutable X because we wanted to be on OpenSea. Well, Immutable X is, with pressure from Coinbase, is working as hard as I can on getting, you know, being interoperable with OpenSea. Did he mention the timeline on that with his interview with you? I forget. He did.
I asked. Yeah, so I asked when, because he did state in AMA that it's not coming this quarter, and so I asked, does that mean it's coming in Q3? And he said he could not commit to a time on that. So I think the ball is very much in Immutable X's court on that. Because when you think about it, I mean, Immutable X Marketplace, you know, it really kicked off and like started seeing some volume in it at the tail end of last year, right? Like Gods Unchained was kind of like a big thing for a while, and I started adding more with like Gilded Gardens and all that. But the uplift to bring in over 4 million NFTs, I don't know where we're at now. Well, I guess it wouldn't be all of them right away, but to have the ability to bring in as many NFTs that are in Veve into it, and then also have it integrate all the data. I mean, it's definitely a big uplift. And we've seen that they can do that with HRO on the digital cards they did, but there aren't as many of those yet that they have to do that with, right? So I think they're trying to figure out on the Immutable X side on how to have it really work well with Veve in the layer 2 side.
Good point.
I know he has his it's the cards. Gosh, what are those? There was like 150,000 of them, that book games.
Oh yeah.
He has his book games on there. But even that volume isn't anything compared to Veve. But I know that there was like 125,000 of them minted, and then you can sell and exchange and swap. And I think you can trade some in, burn some for additional tokens, or for like a whitelist spot on his Be Friends 2 that's coming out in a week or so, I think. But I think having volume like that on Immutable X is good, because in a sense they're testing the waters and the scalability of the blockchain. But it sounds like Veve's wanting to go, that they're trying to get OpenSea, or be able to have ours compatible with OpenSea before IMX. Is that right?
Yes, they want to have, Immutable X wants to be interoperable with OpenSea, and then Reese said that we would have that. So we'd probably go on both at the same time, whichever ones are able to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's funny because they're being really, really strategic, and like it's hard from on the outside looking in. Like we don't know what's happening behind the scenes to a very grand degree, right? They share a lot with us, but we still probably only know about, you know, maybe 10%, maybe 5% of what is coming, or what they have built out, what partnerships they have, why they choose to do the things that they do with some of the timelines. So like from our perspective, sometimes we're like, why don't you drop a big exchange now? Or why don't you do Immutable X Marketplace before OpenSea will still be successful? But again, there's a lot of things that we don't know. So I think sometimes they have to weigh out, like, this is potential window that we're missing that would be great now, but this window at this time frame is going to be 4 times more advantageous, right? So like selfishly, I'm like, no, like announce Binance right now, right? But it's only because I want it now. But they're looking at the big picture of the company and what could be the most advantageous time for everyone, right? Even if we don't see it now. So I'm constantly reminding myself, I'm like, yes, I'm very frustrated on timelines. Yes, I want more exchanges, but we know they're coming, and they clearly know more about blockchain and NFTs than we do, and how to create successful businesses like all the other ones that David, you and Dan and everyone else has.
Yeah, Reese had mentioned that they hired a guy that is a specific strategic coin lister. Like they have like a plan, like a full roadmap on how to do it, and that's why they're only doing a certain amount over the next 12 months. So we'll see.
I get the whole not listing on exchange part right now. Like that for me makes sense because I'm not a Doge fan, right? So I'm just going to, and Veve is definitely not anything like Doge, but what I ask myself when I buy into something, and this is why I didn't buy into Doge, and until it proves me wrong and there's utility and it can be used for other things, I won't own Doge. But I ask myself, so, okay, cool, you have it, but now what? What can you do with it? You know, a lot of these meme coins and hype coins and things that are out there, they're built on hype, but at the end of the day, they just come crashing back down because then people realize, okay, yay, cool, I have all of this now, other than cashing out and getting paid. What else can I do with it? And I feel like right now there's not a lot you can't do with the OMI token. So without having the utility, without having, NFT to OMI or the VVverse and being able to buy things in the marketplace, accessories or whatever else, it doesn't make sense to list it on an exchange as a utility token or a gaming token or any of these things if you can't actually use it for those purposes yet. So why list it now when it's not really even implemented? You know what I'm saying? I feel like it would just create a lot of FUD, a lot of negativity. Like, what is this? What do you do with it type thing versus waiting until you can actually use a token for things and then slamming it on some of these really big exchanges would be like, wow, this is awesome. So that part I get.
Yeah. So I definitely bought Doge just because I know it is a meme coin and I know that there will be utility built into it. But I like most of my investments like OMI are future looking, right? Like some of the stocks that I hold, I bought because I know that they're not going to be, massive now, but they're going to be massive in the next 2 years, 3 years as the technology continues to build out. But I still also have some, high growth or some popular ones. Same thing with some of the, I guess less on the crypto, but I have bought into some of the meme coins in the past because I have no attachment to them. I have no emotional connection to them. I don't believe they're going to be, they're going to pass Bitcoin like that. But I know some people do think that, and they don't really care or understand tokenomics or utility or, why they're investing in something just because people are talking about it. So I know to sell the top and then I can put that into something I do believe in. Yeah. So that's kind of how I feel with like Doge is I'm not a big supporter of it, but at the same time, I know I can swing trade the crap out of it and put that into OMI and other investments.
Yeah, true. Speaking of other investments, another project, I don't know if you guys are aware of, but EVDC, electric vehicle direct currency, EVDC. So that and OMI are my top two projects.
Can you tell us about EVDC?
Yes. So EVDC is a digital currency that was made for electric vehicles, basically. So, there's an app that you can download on Android, Apple, whatever. It's in the Google Play Store. So you can actually download the app. It's EVDC. And they have a proprietary, basically their app is proprietary. And I don't know if any of you are familiar, but like I don't have an electric car. But as an electric vehicle, you have to charge at charging stations. For every charging station you go to, if it's a different company or manufacturer, you have to create a new account. So say, Randy, you've got your Cybertruck, okay?
Which one?
You've got your Cybertruck, and You charge it at the same electric vehicle charging station, right? You already have an account there, but now you're going to go on a road trip and an hour down the road, you need to charge up again. Well, you've never charged here before. So you have to create a new account, put all your own personal information, link a credit card, link whatever to charge at that station. So they said, okay, forget that. We're going to come up with a proprietary app that will allow you to create one account. And then you can use that one account at any public charging station to charge your vehicle. So you use the EVDC and you can upload it. You can add a credit card. You can do Apple Pay. You can actually deposit cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever, and it converts it into the EVDC token. And the EVDC token is actually what's used to charge the vehicle. So it has the burn mechanism. There isn't anything else out there like it. Electric vehicles are definitely, I mean, everything. They're saying in the next 5-10 years that nothing other than electric vehicles are even going to be made.
Yeah, I think 2035 is like the cutoff.
Planes, big rigs, you know, they're saying pretty much everything is going to go electric. So it's pretty fascinating. They have a map. It'll like, if you say find my location, it'll find your location and it'll literally give you a map of all of the EVDC compatible chargers that are around you. And it'll tell you which ones are fast charge or regular charge. But the currency itself is what is used to charge the vehicles. And then, so it's cheaper than OMI right now. It's actually like way cheaper than what OMI is. So you can buy, I think you can buy 10 million of them for like $150.
Damn.
So, and it's got massive utility that they're already implementing. They're getting partnerships and contracts with big hotel chains to actually have all they just came out with their own line of EVDC charging units for home and public stations. Cool. So, which will obviously create more burn. So it's a really good project because that and OMI alone, EVDC and OMI are my two that I'm just like, yeah.
I have to take a look into that.
Same.
Definitely.
That reminds me of some things that, like, what else you would invest in, like when OMI moons, when you take profit. I might go back into Tesla. I sold all of it for OMI, but ARK Invest just had a bombshell of a price prediction for Tesla, saying by 2026 they expect it to be like a $4,600 a share stock, and by 2030 they expect it to be like $22,000 a share. Whew. And it took a while to read, but they didn't include any of like Tesla Energy, which at some point is going to be almost as big as Tesla. They didn't include AI as a service or Tesla robots. So like the Tesla bots that they have. So I think that, Tesla is about $1 trillion company right now. I think ARK is wrong. I think they're very conservative. They're definitely conservative in their estimate. I think by 2030, Tesla can be a $30 trillion company. So that's, I might go back into them once OMI.
And 4,600 is only 4x, which is great for like stocks, right? But thinking, I guess, what else you could do in that time frame in crypto or some other like high growth stocks, OMI especially, right? Like it's, but Tesla's always a safe bet, right? Like I still have, quite a good amount of Tesla, just as part of my portfolio. I don't touch it; it just sits there.
Good.
And then Corinne, I was hearing you talk about this one, and I was like, all right, I'll take a look at the roadmap, and I do need to dig a little bit deeper into it. But one thing that jumps out about EVDC, I'm always like, I don't just invest in everything. I'm always like very skeptical, and I read all about the tokenomics. I read the roadmaps, and I really need to understand anything before I invest in it, unless it's like a meme coin, I'm just gonna swing trade it, whatever. One thing that I like about EVDC that right away you see is they need to make their roadmap definitely better and actually have some aligned times, but they're partners. So they have ABB mentioned, and then the big one here is ChargePoint. ChargePoint has the largest market share of chargers for EVs in the US. I'm not sure about the world. Funny enough, they were actually one of my clients like 7 years ago. They started in the Bay Area and they were small. And like now they have the major market share. I am a stockholder for them in stocks. I know a lot about the company. So the fact that they have a partnership with them, I'd want to dive in and understand what that partnership looks like. But if it is really expansive for like all their charging stations or all the stations that they actually have partners through their charging stations, then that actually could be a pretty solid crypto.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's globally too. It's not just isolated and localized to one part of the world. Like they're trying to Matthew and actually, I haven't done a stream on Corinne from Cali, but if you go to Corinne from Cali on YouTube, I did a part 1 of EBDC, talked about the tokenomics, the burns, and all of that. But I also did a follow-up interview with the founder, CEO, Matt, in the part 2. So both of those are on my channel, part 1, part 2. And then that was, like I said, 6 months ago. So you can see from where they were then to where they are now. But they're global, and they were targeting places like Europe, where they have a ton of electric vehicles. Like most of their vehicles are electric, and placing. So the other fascinating thing is that Teslas can pretty much charge at Tesla stations, but non-Teslas charge at any station.
Yeah.
So their public and proprietary app, and the reason that I keep going back to proprietary is that nobody else can create an app that basically you create one account through your phone, and then you use that account at every public charging station around the world so that you're not having to make duplicate accounts. And like I said, you upload your wallet. It's like the Veve app. You need gems. You can use Apple Pay, Google Pay. But with them, you can actually deposit Bitcoin, other types of cryptocurrencies. You can use your credit card. You can use your Apple Pay, and then it converts it to the actual EBDC token right there. And then it leaves your balance as the EBDC, and it burns a percentage of every transaction. So yeah, it's crazy, but they just landed a whole bunch of partnerships with, and Taps, that's probably one of the ones that you were just talking about, one of the partnerships that they just landed in contracts that they're getting with people all over to actually buy their physical stations now. Because, it takes sometimes 6 hours to charge a car. I mean, who's going to sit in a parking lot for 6 hours?
Oh my God.
If you're on empty to charge a now So now they're selling home stations that you can buy, put in your garage. And I think the cheapest one they had was like $1,500. So now you can buy one of theirs that they're actually making tied to their token to charge in your home or somewhere else, rent it out for if you own a gas station, this is where the passive income comes in. If you own a gas station, if you own a restaurant, if you own a hotel chain, buy 10 of their charging stations, put them outside of the hotel, and boom, there you go. Now you're actually.
So that might be another thing I would have to invest in, because they could take, even if they don't take majority market share, like I feel like with there's so much opportunity with electric, because it's going to be such a huge space. So billion-dollar companies going to be popping up all over the place. Speaking of which,
Dino said he thinks Tesla has more chargers than ChargePoint, and I just had to look. I was like, I'm pretty sure I know the match. ChargePoint has 45% of the market share.
Oh wow!
So the top three have 72% of the market share, and Tesla has 19.6. So,
Gotcha.
And then Blink following Tesla, but ChargePoint is the market shareholder or leader.
That's insane.
They're all over the place.
But
I'm like, I can be at Randy's status here and have like 130 million EBDC for like $1,000.
Get it. Go shoot for $1 billion. Go for like 13,000.
Right? Man. But yeah, there are some amazing projects out there. But yeah, at the end of the day, as far as the NFT sector and the metaverses and all that stuff go, Veve's definitely going to rule the space for sure.
So I wonder if Veve would ever go public, because right now Vanity Fair has Veve as a multi-billion-dollar company. When they did that piece on Art Patron or Art Sing, but Akil Patterson estimates it at between 4 and 5 billion. Where do you guys estimate the value of Veve or Comey?
Right now?
Yeah. Obviously, the token being separate, I think it would have to be.
God, that's hard.
I would need to pull data, Randy. I didn't expect this question.
Yeah, that's not a like top off the head, like, off the top of the head. I'm like, I got to get some numbers and stuff in front of me, but that number's got to be pretty big. I mean,
they don't need to go public though. I mean, I almost feel like they have so much more advantage to stay private, right? And I think if they were really to even consider going public, like you just lose so much more control. And it almost would make sense if, like, you think about public readiness and like how large companies become, not just from a revenue standpoint, but from an infrastructure standpoint and like an employee standpoint, right? Like they're not really even close to, as an internal company, what you would really want to be a public company, right? So I don't think that would happen anytime soon if it was, but there's just so much more advantage to stay private, especially in this space, right? Like when you think about who's going to go public first from the actual crypto companies, I mean, it's probably going to be XRP and Cardano are going to be they've already talked about it. Like they're going to be probably going public first, but you're already seeing exchanges like obviously Coinbase and I think some others like Kraken and others are looking at going public, but there's just so much more advantage to stay private right now, especially since they're making a ton more money now. They're also going to make a ton more money once the Apple fee lightens up too. So
I can't wait for web app where suddenly Veve's revenue just increases like by so much because we're not putting money in on the web app anymore, and they go from like 30% fees to like 2% fees.
Yeah. Well, back to the whole public thing that Taps, during your interview with Reese, he talked about not going public and the benefits to that they don't want to lose control, that the reason that they have basically kept it the way it is for so long is because they don't have to answer to a lot of people. You know, they're not like, they have control. They're not forced to make decisions that are being pushed on them by other companies, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, yeah, they're able to keep more control that way. And I don't think they need to either.
That's a good point. What do you make about and I don't know if Reese mentioned this on the interview, KYC for multiple accounts? Like, what do people do if they have 2 accounts?
I think it should be allowed. I mean, because it's known that families do. Like, I have one for me. I made one for my daughter, you know, and then my older daughter who gave up interest, but she still has one. And I think she might have 1 or 2 collectibles in it. My parents got one at one point in time, so they'll KYC for themselves. But, you know, I think it's known that families have at least 2 or 3 accounts. Now, do I think there should be a cap on it? Yeah, probably. But to say that you can't KYC, you know, at least 2 or maybe 3, or I don't know how there would be a gray line there if you would be able to put a limit on it. But I definitely think that should be allowed unless you're allowed to KYC at 12 or older. But then what about, you know, some of these younger kids that have accounts? Can you just transfer their collectibles to your main account?
Yeah.
And then KYC under that one?
Maybe have like a stipulation, like, hey, I have a kid, but then how would you prove that? Because then boters would be like, oh, I have a kid.
You need report cards. You can't sell or transfer if you don't have good grades and prove who you are via report card.
Hey, I like that.
Remember back in the day, Chuck E. Cheese would give you tokens if you came in with good grades?
Yep, never got tokens.
Same.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember commercials for it. Like, good tokens means good grades, or good grades and you get like free tokens.
Oh, that's
and I just never. I remember going there back in the day. Like, I don't know how I'd feel about it now because kids everywhere, and you know, like playing Five Nights at Freddy's, I might be a little scared of the band. I don't know. There's a great 4chan story about a guy that it was like his first and only day at Chuck E. Cheese, and his job was just to like clean. And he said when like a kid like threw up in the ball pit, he's like, I'm out, not doing it.
No.
Yeah, he's like, I'm done.
And you can't really clean that. So.
Oh no.
Yeah. He said what set the kids off was when the guy in the Chuck E. Cheese outfit, like he had to take his head off or something, and all the kids were like screaming. They're like, "Oh my god!" And one kid got like so anxious he threw up in the ball pit. It's like, "Oh no!"
But yeah, no. Johnny must have never got his internet back.
Poor Johnny Dunn.
I know. Of all days.
Better do this again at some point for him, so this way he can go and join us.
Definitely. Yeah, people were asking, is this going to be a podcast? You guys going to do this like once a month, quarterly, whatever? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I mean, we can get together as little or often as you guys want.
I guess whenever we have time. I mean, I don't really do anything. I'm streaming or watching Hulu, like so. Yeah, whenever you guys have time. Also, do you guys have not necessarily an exit strategy from OMI, but let's say like an exit strategy from like the public life? Like, all right, that's it. I have enough money. It's gonna get to the point where it's dangerous now to like be a public figure. Or are you guys gonna lean into it and be like, Rick James or something?
James, bitch. I feel like I'm so far from that right now. I haven't even thought about it, actually. So I think from both of you probably have thought about it a lot more than me because you're in the public eye.
Yeah. It's, I mean, the goal is to, I still have a job. And the goal is eventually to not have one, obviously, like do what I love, which is not necessarily YouTube, but I like the community and I like that presence of sharing information. And, it kind of started as a hobby and it ended up becoming something that I didn't expect. So I think I'll consistently keep doing YouTube when I can. Like when I made the job shift, I shifted jobs because I was like, oh, I'll have more time to do YouTube. And then it ended up being much heavier lifting because it's a new job. So I've been absolutely burnt out lately to try to manage both, but it's starting to get easier again, which is good to manage both. But my whole goal originally was, once it started building up, is to actually kind of get into an NFT project, to build connections, to actually not necessarily become a public figure, but to become an advisor, to actually work with people who are smarter than me, to learn more. So that way I can become more attached to blockchain, NFTs, metaverse, just become a part of what is making, the future great, which is crypto and NFTs and blockchain. So, I've been passionate about it for years, but to actively have Twitter and YouTube that's allowed me to have conversations with you guys. And then also people I never thought I'd be able to speak to, right? Like CEOs of projects and Tom Bilyeu and, like that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have this happen. So my goal is to keep building towards that path, but I'm keeping an open mind and let it take me where it's going to go. Right. And I guess I'm not really afraid of, if the channel did become big and, I don't think I'd ever be like a BitBoy or altcoin daily like that, but I guess getting recognized from like someone from work, that's a little scary, but hopefully by the time that happens, I wouldn't need to have a job anymore.
That's a good point. Since DesignerCon, where you were going over your questions for Reese, and you didn't have socks on, and everyone was like, "First appearance feet, first appearance feet for tabs." I actually thought about doing this, like selling NFTs of my fridge or NFTs of Dashi to like help pay for taxes before I took the gambling route. There is as far as selling your own NFTs. Oh, he's saying shh. Do you have a plan right now to be like, okay, here's some ideas in my head. I'm going to make 100 taps NFTs and then 10,000 taps coins, and they can be used together and something like that.
Kicked around the idea. So it's tough because I actually wanted to start making NFTs back when maybe March or April, and I just starting the channel and getting into the community and all that, and I had some really creative ideas, and I didn't have the time. And I actually have a friend who, like, I can draw decent, but not like amazing. And I have a friend who's an amazing artist. And I was kind of telling her she didn't at the time understand NFTs at all. And I was kind of like, hey, you know, if you would want to design some of my ideas, we could kind of make this into a thing. And it just never went anywhere. And I really wish we had, because I don't want to talk about what the ideas are because then someone will do them. But I have some ideas for NFTs that would probably do pretty well. And then, you know, I've looked at Rally, how you can have like, you know, a token, kind of like how Jeremiah Yang has one.
Same.
And I've considered it, and if I were to create an NFT or create, you know, a TAPS token or anything like that, I would really want to spend a lot of time into it, because the value of it, I would really want to come for the people who are investing in it, right? So that way, if I'm making X amount is going back into it to make it strong utility and go back with rewards or whatever to those people who are choosing to invest in me in that token or that NFT project. So like, that's why I really like what Brock did with Fiches is, you know, he came out with it. He has a lot of connections with other artists. He is a mega Omi and Veve collector whale, but he has put so much back into the project by holding it for those who chose to believe in him and invest in it. That's what I would want for my project as well.
Same. I want some, like, Brock's also insanely smart, where he has the ability to go and make a whole project, like a whole game, like the lore is beautiful on it. I'm not really that smart. I mean, I could maybe think like creative writingly, but my idea would be make I don't know, like a Randonites coin, where all the people that hold it are Randonites, and if you have like a certain percentage of them, like 1 or 2%, and you get like a free postcard from me, like a personally written letter. Like it would just be on me. I don't know how to give it utility other than, I don't know, like selling my time or selling my, I don't want to say body, because that sounds like if we get to adults.
Whoa.
The OnlyFans.
I'm not sure how that gets tied in, but I know that, like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I mean, I've played around and made, you know, a couple NFTs, because it's not very difficult to do, and you can list them on OpenSea, and you can do most of it through MetaMask. But as far as adding utility in and being able to like tie in, say like a face-to-face or a written postcard to say, hey, this comes with this, I wouldn't even know. I have no idea. I mean, other than just verbally saying, if you have this one, this is what you get. But I know that's not how it works.
No, that's a fair point. Like I said, I played around with the idea, but I don't want to have like a, let's say I make like a Randy Chavez eating a taco thing, and if you get one, you get a free taco per month from me. Like, and I would be able to like Cash App you, or, you know, PayPal you or whatever, like, you know, $2 for the taco. You know, I might be able to make money on the initial investment, but then if I make 100 of them, okay, well now I have to shell out $200 a month for that. And like, is it worth it? Or if it's like a phone call, okay, well, you know, for 1 hour each month, if I have 100 of them, that's 100 hours a month. It's like, oh my God, you know, I haven't had time to really find a good.
It's hard to balance everything. Good question from Rip Curls, by the way. But yeah, that's the thing, is like the time. Like, I had that month off where I didn't have a job, and I jammed out, you know, almost every day a video, and I loved it. And I was like, I could see myself doing this, and then also having time to do further things to broaden out full time. But yeah, it's a tough balance when you have so many different things. And like, you know, Randy, you're constantly streaming. It's definitely hard to, you have all the aspirations and the opportunity, but you just need to make the time to really commit to it, right?
All right, so that question, guys, think of selling the points to licensors to gain OMI as a transaction store value, in addition to fiat revenue. If so, how? I don't selling master collector points, or oh no, he's like one of the selling points. That's what he meant, to licensors to gain OMI as a transaction. Do you think any of these licensors took payment in OMI?
I don't think so. I think I think they receive the NFTs, and then that's how they're. I mean, because they're getting awareness, right? And they're also making money off the secondary market. They're making money off the transaction fees.
Yeah.
I don't think they're actively paying them in OMI.
No,
wouldn't that also, if they're paying people in OMI, wouldn't that help potentially tread in the ground of a security too?
That's a good point.
So probably not.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah. If they were to make an NFT of me, I'd just be like, I don't even want anything. I'll just get so much exposure for YouTube. Who is this Randy Chavez? And I'm like, oh, you have a YouTube channel.
You are an NFT from Keki Kaijin, right?
From Earth 2, I have. Well, I'm an NFT like in so many different ways. I forget who's made them, but I have Randy Chavez NFTs for Earth 2. Like they bear the Earth 2 logo. It's an official trading card. It's like this is great.
Oh, I've seen those. Those are super cool.
Yeah, those are fun.
I did them though. There was several of you guys in the community that got yourselves put on them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are awesome.
And back when I was a dancer, I think this is where the story's coming from. They told me they just told me to come in, like they'd give me clothes, like okay, that's fine, but they didn't say that the clothes would be assless chaps. And I don't know about you guys, but
where did you dance?
Oh my god!
It was a club on Long Island called Lake Cafe, where they had it was a normal strip club, but they had a ladies. I was doorman. Like how I got the job is because I was doorman there, just like checking IDs and cover fees and whatever. And they had this. They decided like, oh, let's do ladies' night on like Monday night. And I was like, oh, okay. And like Chavez, you want to dance? Like I don't really know. I'll try it. I was like 19. I was ripped AF, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And like, yeah, like the Cougars will love you. And I was like, okay, like I'll dance for Cougars. But when they gave me the assless chaps, like I'm very hairy, so I had to go to this one guy, Mike. I was like, listen, I don't really know you, but can you help me shave my ass? And he's like, yeah, man, I got you. And it was like,
that's a homie.
Right?
It was one of the gayest things I'd ever had, because this dude's face is literally right in my behind. And like outside of basic training where I was showering with like 20 other dudes, like that was one of the gayest things I ever did.
That's amazing.
But yeah, in provocative meow poses. Okay, yeah. If the internet wants it, I'll.
That's why I love your streams, is because you had to date already such an interesting life and so many great stories. And if you miss one Randy Chavez stream, then you're potentially missing out on some more backstory, some more of the Randy lore, right? Like you've had so many fun things happen, and that's actually some of the feedback that like I've received from people. There's like, you don't really talk too much about yourself personally. I'm like, I guess I don't, but I don't have the same storytelling ability that you have. But yeah, I think that's definitely something I don't have any assless chap stories, but definitely have had a mix of fun times before I was a YouTube creator.
No, I have such a great community. They're so like, there was somebody that sent me a message on Twitter, and I don't know if I posted about it on TikTok, and I don't remember the exact. And that's why I don't go into my Twitter message requests all that often, because they're saying like, you are my daddy, and like reply to me so I can get cummies, and like you'll still be my daddy even if you don't. I was like, oh my god, this is why. Like, have you guys ever gotten messages like that?
Not quite like that, but
I've gotten interesting messages, but not that direct.
I'm pretty sure it was a dude also. I'm pretty sure.
He's probably in the audience right now, and he's already typing out a message like, do you have pictures of when you were dancing and or the shaving event?
I don't have pictures of the shaving event. That was such a wild job. That was such a. It was. I don't know. I mean, some of the stories are pretty gross. So I don't have a sense of smell, And
Oh
yeah,
yeah, you don't tell me that. Yeah.
yeah. So I guess dancers, when they, are dancing and they're sweating and, I guess their feet smell. And I guess, when their bodies smell, because, they're dancing in boots, they're dancing in, whatever. And there was this one night where this girl was doing her stuff on stage, and happened to, like, the combination of like the sweat smell and apparently this woman was a little sick and had some type of infection. And I won't go too far into it because it's really gross, but like the bar back was like throwing out, and like the bartender was throwing, like, and I was like, I don't know, like, I'm fine, like, because I couldn't smell anything.
This is pre-COVID and you had no smell.
Yeah, this is definitely this is like 2010. This is a long time ago. Oh my god, it was 12 years ago. Oh my god, so old.
Time flies. That's crazy.
How do you guys deal with aging?
I'm fine. I'm actually looking more forward to. I'm 38. I just turned 38.
Wow.
I was thinking I was turning 39 for almost like the
You
whole
look
year.
so much better than me. And I'm 31.
We're young. But I'm actually looking forward to my 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, I feel like it's just things get a little bit easier now. It's just there's not as much figuring out to do. I feel like, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel age a little bit. Like, I mean, well into my like late 20s, I was, I always needed to be doing something, whether it was traveling or going out to like bars with friends, or I love to dance. That's a fun fact about me, is like, if there's a reason to dance or karaoke, which Randy knows, I'm like, let's go. But I think like once lockdown happened, it like made me slow down a bit. And then weirdly enough, like, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but like in the summer last year, I randomly had a stroke, and that definitely affected my energy. So I get more tired now than I never like had like big fatigue throughout the day. So like that's one thing that did affect me from that. But I'm not sure if that's age or it's just like that after effect condition, but definitely don't have the energy I once did.
Yeah. Do they know what caused that? Was it just out of nowhere, or like?
So it's a little controversial, but it was, and I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything, but it was immediately after I got the second vaccine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But we don't discuss that here because I don't want people to start losing their minds.
Yeah, no. And you're healthy,
I'm here, I'm healthy. Yeah. I have full mobility again.
So I do stream a lot, and there was sometimes the conversation, there'll be like there'll be like 50 people here, and the conversation will go to like Bigfoot and aliens. And like I posted on Snapchat the other day, like someone's like, Chewbacca is like proof of space Bigfoot. And somebody said, I think it was Frank Sobaka said like two of his friends got they said they got abducted. I don't know exactly where he lives or where he used to live, but yeah, if you guys ever just do like a stream, like, hey, we're just going to talk, tell me your stories, there's some wild stuff that subscribers will tell you. Like, do you get Tabs? You said you don't remember this. Heather from Karuga told me and Taps one night after we were at the bar at Designer Con that where she's from in New York is they had like an issue with like inbreeding, and they had an issue with that. And I was trying to tell Taps about this. Like we're trying to piece the night together. It's like, you don't remember the end of the night when Heather's talking about this?
There's like pieces of that night that I remember, but yeah, I mean, we drink a lot of decon, but that night specifically was kind of all over the spot.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys ever just do that, and you guys will have fun stories for days. Your subscribers will just tell you stuff.
Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I remember in like 2007, I was like, very new, like to watching videos on YouTube, and there was like somebody posted like an Animal Planet or Discovery Channel documentary on YouTube, and all the comments are just like, guarantee you like 5 to 10 years, we're going to have Bigfoot on like an operating table. We'll find him. And it hasn't happened yet. I think that I would like to think that Bigfoot is real. And the reason why we're not finding any bodies or bones is maybe because they bury their dead. And that is the only thing that I'm thinking of as an explanation as to why we haven't found them yet. But I want them to be real.
I definitely believe in aliens. I definitely believe in different like types of spirits and things like that. But I'm not so sure. I want to believe in Bigfoot, but I'm like not convinced. I love conspiracy theory stuff, just because I like thinking outside of the box and being like, okay, like there's more than what we know. We're consistently finding new species of things, and there's only so much that we get actual notification on. Like during the huge wave of everything with COVID and things happening, like some sightings of some UFOs that were going faster than any man-made aircraft could go happened like 5 years ago or 6 years ago. And they finally said, it is officially like a UFO. We cannot identify what this is. And so I remember like there were some posts like, oh, the world completely announced that there was a UFO, but no one cared because of all the other things happening. I'm like, things like that I always find like super interesting. So yeah, I believe in like higher life forms. I believe in, we haven't completely even touched on what is still on the earth and things that are developing on the earth, but I'm not sure if I necessarily believe in like a set Bigfoot. If I were to believe in anything, I definitely believe, or I want to believe, that Nessie is real and is like hiding somewhere.
Loch Ness. Corinne, what about you? Do you believe that aliens, or are we in a simulation? And
not so sure about aliens, but definitely spirits. And I think there's a lot more happening on Mars, or has happened, or things like, and that nature goes. I think we're going to find out a lot more as things evolve. But I don't really have too much of a comment.
I've been on enough Lucy to show me that I think we're just ones and zeros. I think we are a computer simulation.
You think we're in the Matrix?
Yes. But not so many words, but yes. So TAPS is going to be at DCon in UK. I unfortunately have another con called Dragon Con in Atlanta, Georgia, that same weekend. But what about you, Corinne? Are you going to the UK?
I won't be, unfortunately. I think the next one that I'm going to try to make would be the one in San Diego, LA, maybe the Comic-Con later this summer. Otherwise, they're going to have DCon here early next year. Whenever the next DCon here is.
November, right?
Is it November?
I think, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'll definitely make one of those too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I want to see everyone. I might just go visit the UK anyway. I know Hello K's over there, W Champ's over there, Orange Bag Lady's over there.
I love Orange Bag Lady. She's so awesome.
She's great. I had her on the stream like a month ago, and she was fun. She was a lot of good time.
Her accent is amazing.
I love her hair.
Her hair is awesome.
Oh my god, beautiful hair.
Her hair is beautiful.
I would kill for that hair.
She's always just so positive, and just her energy and vibe and everything about her, just laid back, chill, and just, I really, really like her. Yeah. So
I love those guys. So we've been at it for about 2.5 hours. Any final thoughts you want to say to everyone before we bounce?
Man, I'm just excited for what's to come. I can't believe that we've been here for more than a year. It's been like 13 months since I found out about like this whole new like revolutions that I never even knew existed. Like I said, I never even collected, didn't know what an NFT was. And now here we are like a year later, and like just the connections that I've met with in the community and you guys, and where the future is headed. And, I love the team. I don't know. I'm just super bullish on the whole project. So I'm just excited to see where we are in another year from now, with our Oculuses and in the metaverse. And
I can't wait.
yeah, I can't wait. Yep, can't wait.
Can't wait to party with everyone.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think, like I said earlier, there's definitely like a lower sentiment, which we've gone through those phases before. So, I mean, it's good to have those connects, not like, and I think Reese Law is like, hey man, like I know that you guys do AMAs with within the Veve team, but I think whether it's myself or other content creators, just hopping on their channels and having some of those questions directly from us is beneficial, right? Just because it's good to get a big picture, right? Because right now everyone thinks about what's happening now, but sometimes forget about how this has not really been a long journey. Like Corinne just said, 13 months or so. And so Veve is going to be, Reese said he thinks Veve is going to be one of the biggest companies in the world. And I think that's a big ask. But, the way that they are building out, the way that they have built out, I mean, I can see them being an absolute monster. And I'm really excited for the Veveverse. Again, it's just another way for us to connect that is not through Twitter or through YouTube. And it's just going to broaden out much bigger. So, if you're collecting Veve NFTs, if you're buying OMI, I think it just makes sense, not financial advice, but just because, we're all still, for the most part, here. And we're still all talking about OMI and Veve. And you look at how many content creators or just how many people live and breathe OMI and Veve every single day in different forms of social. There's not many other projects that have that many passionate people who have been around for that long a time without phasing out. And the best things are still ahead. So, I'm still long-term very, very bullish.
Same. And like the new people that come in and make a giant splash, like a year ago, there was no Dino Lang and there was no Rob Stuff and there was no Veve vibes. Like half my fridge wasn't here. In the next 13 months, 5 to 10 cents probably. Not financial advice, but like there's so much that's going to be going on.
So much.
Yeah.
Drops. I remember waiting sometimes 2-3 weeks before we'd even have a drop. And it's like another drop would come like a month later. We're like, yeah, we get another drop. And we're like, oh, no, I got to wait again. And then pretty soon it was like twice a week. And then when they did they came out with the Marvel and the comics, David said that wasn't even something they were planning on bringing in this early. That was supposed to be much further down the road. But then with COVID and, it was comics and crypto, when they interviewed David, they spoke about this or whatever on their podcast. But how that now we were having drops twice a week and started out when you could literally buy as many as you could within like 3-4 minutes. And we had no idea what we knew now. I wish I could go back to those days and buy 10, Marvel #1s.
Agreed.
But yeah, it's amazing.
Tony Tones, yes, she has a YouTube channel. It is it's just Corinne from Cali. So that's maybe just type in her name and that'll be it. So anyway, thank you so much, guys, for coming. Everyone, we say bye to Danchi. Bye, Danchi. And I'll talk to you guys for like a minute real quick after I say adios. Peace, guys. Goodbye.